今天的讲座。如果您需要这个翻译功能的话，您可以点击 Zoom 界面下面的这个有一个地球仪一样的标记，上面写的是翻译 Interpretation INTERPRETATRAN。你点了这个按钮的话，你选择 Mandarin MANDARIN， 这个是我们普通话的频道啊，你选择普通话的频道，等到我们开始了以后的话，你就锁定就一直在这个普通话频道，你就能够听到我们这个中文的翻译了。谢谢。So for this session, we provide Mandarin interpretation. If you need that
所以我们
function,
这边
please find
也会
the
有中文的翻译，
button at the bottom of your
然
Zoom
后在
screen and click
荧幕
Mandarin.
的底
So
下
this
会有
is
一
a
个
Mandarin Chinese interpretation channel.
会有一个
Please
按
enter
钮，
there.
您可以选择中文的
I
翻译。
saw 桂华，你有问题是不是？你可以在我们的 chat 这个里面给我们留言，这样的话我们就能够看到你有什么问题了。对，如果大家有任何的问题的话，请在这个 chat 聊天的这个对话框里面给我们发信息，因为这是一个webinar Zoom 的它这个讲座的一个功能，所以说观众是不能说话。那如果你有问题的话，就给我们打字，在这个留言区、聊天区里面给我们说一下。然后我们的讲座会在3点05分的时候开始，还有2分钟。So our webinar will start in 1 minute, 3:35.
讲座会在2分钟以后开始，3点05分的时候开始，谢谢。
桂华，我现在可以你可以打开您的麦克风，你有什么问题吗？你可以跟我说一下。
我刚才没听见您说那个翻译的那功能点哪个钮？
翻译在最下面，你是用的是手机还是这个电脑？
我是电脑。
电脑最下面有一个地球仪一样的一个按钮，您看一下有没有看到？
看到了。
对，你点一下，里面有 Mandarin MANDARIN， 点一下，你等会儿就可以听到中文翻译了。
点一下这个就可以了。
对，
好，谢谢。
好，不客气。
桂华女士您好，我是您的翻译员，请问听得到吗？
Okay, so I think it's time now. So let's start. So Philip, probably you can stop share for now and let me.
好，我们现在即将开始我们今天的讲座，
Thank
我们现在
you.
就请主持人分享他的荧幕。
May you're muted, we cannot hear you.
Hello. No, actually, I would like to have the first page so that we have the title of both doctors' name.
我们请华夏协会的红梅主任帮我们开始今天的讲座。
Thank you so much. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mei Hong from the Chinese Culture Connection. Thank you so much for attending the program this afternoon.
非常感谢大家来参加我们今天的
two wonderful
活动。
doctors, actually they are husband and wife, able to join us. So I would like to first introduce
然后他们是事实上是一对医生夫妇。
Gomez. Am I pronounced your name correctly?
那今天我们先请这位
That's okay. You can introduce yourself again. So she's a director of the neurological study multicultural Alzheimer's prevention program at Massachusetts General Hospital, and she's also instructor of neurologist at Harvard Medical School. And her husband,
研究中心的主任， 在这个
Director of Healthy Aging Study and
Jen
Depression Clinical and Research Program at Massachusetts General Hospital, Assistant Professor of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School. It is an incredible
还
opportunity
有
for
忧
us
郁
to
症
be able to listen to both
专门这
really
方面的研
incredible
究，也
doctors
是
and
在
such a
哈
wonderful
佛医学
research and
院
experience to
研
share
究。
with us about
然
their
后今天我们
finding
非常
and
荣幸
what
请
we
到这
can
2位非
preserve
常有
our
经验
memory, which is
做
really
杰
a
出研究
huge
的医生，来帮我
issue
们
in
做
our
有
modern
关
time. And I don't believe that
健
memory
康老化 以
issue is
及
not
阿兹
is
海默症失
only
智症相关的演讲。
the pertaining to the people with the aging. I think a lot of younger people also suffering from a lot of
那不
situations
只
because
是
we have a the a
年
lot of
纪大的
information
人士
overload.
可
So
以
I
在这个
welcome
讲座上面学
both
到东西
doctors to， help
那么一
us
些
to
年轻的人士们
to
也可以
to
受
to
到一
learn and
些
understand how
启
we
发，
can
或者是学习
become
到一
healthy
些
and
相
keep
关
our
的健康知
memories,
识。
particularly the good ones. Thank you.
然后非常再次感谢2位医生来
Well,
提
thank
供
you
今
very
天的演
much,
讲。
May. Thank you for that kind
非常
introduction.
谢谢
I
孔
would like
主
to say
任
that
的演讲。
my wife and I, Dr. Ramirez Gomez and I, we really feel quite at home presenting to you today. And that's because our
觉得
2
今
children
天
have been in the language programs offered
我和
by
我
the
的
Chinese cultural
我和我的太太都
connection, Chinese
觉
culture
得今
connection
天来这
for the
边
past
帮大家做讲座
3 years.
有点像回到家的
So
感
they
觉
have been
因为
learning
我的小
Chinese.
孩
They're in
子
a
有在
bilingual
华夏学会
Chinese class that's now at the
学习
baby
中文
school, and they
所以他
also
有参加
participate
华夏
in
协会
the Little Dragons after school program at BB, and
的
we
中
have
文
really
课
loved
程所以
being
说
able to participate in the
有
Chinese
在华
culture
夏学
connection
会
programs, and we're very
学
happy
到
and
中文以
very
及参与
very honored
华
to
夏
give
协
the
会有
talk
关的
today.
一些有关中华文化
And
以及中华语文的活动
particularly, and I'm going to come back to this later, but I just want to say for now is, May, as many of you might know, she's a Tai Chi
同
instructor,
时
a
也跟
Tai
大
Chi
家
teacher.
说明一下冯梅
And
主任
we're
也
going to
是
talk
一位
about Tai Chi because
太极
it
的
has an important role to
老
play
师
in
然后
maintaining
今
a
天的
healthy
讲座
brain.
当中我
But
们也会
first,
提
we're
到
going to cover
如何使
a
用太
number of
极能够
topics
促进
because our goal really
健
is to
康
help
尤其是脑
people
部的
with mental
保
health
持年轻
problems, right? Whether it
然后今
be
天
on
的
the psychiatry
讲座
side,
的目
I'm a
的是要能
psychiatrist,
够帮助
and so I treat people with
大家的
depression,
心理健
with
康所
anxiety,
以包括
bipolar
一些有
disorder,
关教育以及知识
schizophrenia,
然后还
panic,
有
other kinds of disorders like
比如
that.
说忧郁
And
症精神
Liliana
分裂症
treats
阿兹海默症
patients with
然后
dementia,
我会跟大家分享
stroke, headache, and
有关这
conditions
些
like
比如
that.
说头
All
痛
these you
中
could
风
say are mental
这些
health
有关
problems.
对
And
于
we want to provide education
同
and
步或者是
support
心理方
and
面
support
相关
not
的健
only
康
for
讯
our
息
patients, but for the invisible second patients. Who
那
are
除
the
了
invisible
有一
second
些
patients?
病人本
They
身有这些
are the
问题
family.
但是还有一
They
些
are
其他
the
是看不到
relatives
的
who help provide
称之为次
care
级病人，也
for
就是
our
说
patients
跟
and
病
who
人有相
often
关的，比如说病
experience a
人的
lot of
家人、病
stress,
人的朋友
a lot of
在病人
difficulties
身边、
due
病
to
患
some
身
of
边照顾
the
他们，然后
caregiving
他
that
们
they
的
have
健
to
康
provide,
社
although
交
it
资
can
源网
also
络。
be of benefit to them, to be caregiving, to be
在今天的讲
helping
座
a
也可以学到一
relative
些有
with a
关
chronic
相
illness,
关的
with a
健康讯
chronic
息。
mental health problem.
所以
And
对一
they
些
can
慢性
feel good
的心
about
理
it
健
and
康、身体健
satisfaction.
康
We want to
跟
encourage
脑
that.
部
We
健
want
康
to
的
help people
疾
to
病，
feel
不但
better
是病人
and
本
to help
身
them preserve their
可以
memory.
学习
So
这些
that's
健
what
康
we're
的知
going
识，
to focus
对
on.
于病人的
I would
家
like
人
to
以及
share
朋友
with
们
you
也可以帮助。
that in order to do this better, we are running a research study that involves focus groups. A focus group means that 6 or 8 or 10
那我
people
们现
come
在有做一
together
些
on Zoom
支
and
援团体
give their
那这个支援
opinion.
团体呢，就是说
So who doesn't
大家
like to
可以
give their
在
opinion here? I
在
would like
网
to
络
know
上
if
面
there's one person here who
在
doesn't
网
like
络
to,
在网络
to
上面
give their
大家可
opinion.
以参加这个讨论团体。那
So
这个
we
讨论
want
团
your
体
opinion, and we will pay you for it also. This is
都是
this
在
is
网
for
络上
people
面进
who
行，
are the
然后
relatives,
你可以拿到一
who are
些
the relatives
车马费。那这边
of
显示的是
those who
180
have
元，
memory
最多到
problems,
180元美
or
金。
might even
那
have
就
a
是您可以在
diagnosis
网络上
of
面参加这
dementia.
些讨
And you
论
can
的
see
团
there's
体，
an
然
email
后
address.
跟大家讲一下那个您的意见。
You could contact to be involved.
然后您可以跟这位女士，就是荧幕上面这边的电话号码，您可以把它记下来。617-724-7247，617-724-7247。但是目前的这个网络讨论的话，只由英文进行。所以，但是如果有足够的人的话，以后也有可能开专门是中文的团体。
They cause
那现在就
disability,
开始进行今天的会议主
they
题。
make functioning difficult.
那今天讲的是有关心灵方面的健康。
And they are a risk
那
for
有关心理健
dementia.
康
And for
是
that
非常重要的议
reason,
题。
I
为什
want
么呢？
to tell
因
you
为它会
about
跟生
two
活的
of the
品质，
most common mental health problems
还有就是
before we
个
talk
人
about preserving your
的在日
memory.
常生活中
Because
的这
if these
个
are
正常运
untreated,
作的功能，或者是会有一
if you
些
don't
所谓的失能。
seek
失能意思就是
help from a
比如说不方
medical
便或者是残
professional,
障。
they
那还
can
有就是
worsen
跟
your
记忆有
memory.
关方面的问题。
So it's
然后还有
important
就
for you
是
to know
有关
about
失智
these.
症的一
The
些
first
风
is
险，
depression.
还有它的一些讯息。
Depression,
那首先
according to
这
the
边
World Health
他要讲的是
Organization,
所谓的
is
忧
the
郁症
number
或者是抑郁症。
one
那大家这边可以看
cause
到中
of
文的这个说
disability
明，就是
in the
说
entire
它会
world,
持续
more than any
若干
other
时间，所以
condition.
并不只是一天
Depression.
两天、两三天，
Depression
而是会
is more
譬如说
than
要持
2
续2
weeks,
周，
more than 2 weeks
或者是更
of
久。
experiencing
然
low
后您会
mood, such as
您会感
sadness
到以下
or
的这些症状，
hopelessness,
通常都是一些负面的
difficulty
情绪，
getting pleasure or
譬如说你会
joy.
觉得悲观、情绪的起
And
伏，或者是
some of these other
不容易
symptoms
入
doesn't
睡。
have to be
然后
all,
对于以
but at
前
least
有兴趣的
some
事情，
of
现
sleep
在会失去
difficulties,
兴趣，
reduced
然
interest
后
or
甚至会觉
motivation
得
to
就
go
是
out
说
for
有一些罪恶
activities,
感，或者是说
feelings
会
of guilt
会
and
对于开
self-criticism,
始责备
low
自己，
appetite,
然后或者说也不大想
difficulty
吃东西，
focusing,
不
for
大想吃
example,
东西，
difficulty
没有什么胃
holding
口，
a conversation
然后就
or
是
reading,
记忆力不大能够集中，
irritability in
然后
fighting,
很容易
right? So
生气，
getting mad very quickly at
甚
loved
至有的
ones.
时候会有一些
And
轻生的
even
念头，
suicidal thoughts, which
或者
can
是
be
说
thoughts
或者是
like, I
说
don't want to be
跟人家的
around
社交会
anymore,
产生问题。
all the way up to plans to take one's own life. So these are all symptoms of depression. And
那
if you're
上述
having
说
any
的
of
这一
these, or if
些
your loved ones are, it's
症状
important to get them
或者是
treated.
情形，都是忧郁症相关的症
Depression
状。
interferes with your ability to live
如果
normally
您注意到自
and
己
to
或者是您的家
function
人有这方
normally
面的
in
症状的话，
relationships.
那么您就应该要寻求
Now
专业
moving
医
on to
生的帮
anxiety.
助。那接下来
What
讲
is
什么
severe
是焦虑，
anxiety?
或者是过度
It's
焦
a
虑，就是重
constant
度焦
worry
虑。
in the head that's
那就是
consuming.
说，它的定义是说，如果
It
你
causes
是长
insomnia.
久
The
的、
person
持
can't
续的、
sleep because of
不
their
间断的
anxieties
这
or
种
wakes up
焦
in the
虑
middle of
或
the
者是忧
night.
虑，还有就
They
是
have
失眠，
difficulty relaxing
无
even
法入睡，
when
没
they
有办
try to
法，
relax.
没有办
The
法放松。
thoughts keep going, or they feel physically tense. There might be panic attacks. It might become too scary to
然
leave
后
the
感到恐
house
惧，或者
and
是
experience physical tension or mental
会害
tension.
怕外出，就是不敢出门，
And
或
again,
者
this
是
interferes
或者
with
是会
ability
发
to
脾气，
function in relationships
然
and
后
with
莫名无故
memory.
的生气，
All right.
或者是情绪紧
Now,
张，那
in
这些都
minority
是重度焦虑的
communities,
境遇。
when
然后
we
这
think
边
of
提到的是，就是
minorities, we
说
think of
少数民族，那我们华人也算
people who
是
are non-white
少数民
people,
族，
right? Depression can be
或者是
viewed
非
as a
白人、
weakness,
非白人的
can
族
be a
裔。
seen as a weakness.
然后我们
And
通常会认为
people who are
心理健
suffering
康
from
就是文
depression
化
or
的关
even
系，我们会觉得
anxiety
说，
might
如果我们
report
说有心理健康
physical
方面的问题
pain
的
or
话，
sleep
有忧郁症
problems,
啊，或者是有焦虑症，好像就
because
是
mental health
是一
problems can be
种
seen as
是一
shameful.
种
That
衰
the
弱或者
family,
是
the
懦弱的
family
表现，
would lose face
就会有一些不好的
if
标
someone
签
knew that
在
the
上面。
person was suffering mentally. This is
所以
particularly
就是说会
important among
这其
older
实是一种疾
adult
病，这是一种症
Asian
状，但是我们
American
会
females
却把
in the
它
US. So
根据
surprisingly,
观察的资料
relative
会
to
显示出，
other ethnicities,
就是这
older
是一些跟
adult
文
Asian
化
American
所加
females
注
have
的
a
标签有
higher
关系。
rate of
那尤
suicide.
其是亚洲的
Right? The Asian community
亚
in
裔的
general
美国
is at
人
lower
在
risk,
美国的
but
亚裔
among Asian American
亚裔美
older
国女性
adult females,
在于
they're
65
actually
岁
at
到8岁的
higher
时候
risk of
会有比
suicide.
较高
So this is
的
an
就是自
important
杀的比
problem
率，
that we
然后
cannot
这
ignore.
是
It's
要
really
注意的。
critical
然后底下的网址是
because
它
there are
资料的
effective
来源。
treatments. There are effective treatments for depression and
然
anxiety.
后对于
Right.
忧郁
These
症以及
include
焦虑症
talk therapy,
有效的治疗的话，
one-on-one
包
with a
括
counselor
目
or
前您
with a
看到的这3点，
therapist.
有包括谈
There
话
are
治疗，
medications that
包
are
括使
very
用
good
药物。
and have few side effects,
那如果是
you
在
know,
比较
low
严重
side
的状况
effects
之下，
and very
有可能
helpful.
需要住院。
And in severe cases, of course, hospitalization for a short period of time might be required.
但住院
So
有可能是
if you
短期
know
的，
someone who is not participating in social
所以如
activities,
果您
they
注意
used to
到
be around, but then they
您自己或者
disappear.
是您的家人或者
They've
是您的
lost
朋友，
interest in hobbies. They're
以上的
quite
这些症
lonely.
状就是包括
Maybe
以前
even
会
they
社交，现
complain
在不社
about
交啦。
physical pain a lot of the
然后
time.
以前有兴趣
Reach
的活
out,
动跟兴
ask how they're
趣，
doing,
现在都不做了。比如
advise
说打
them
乒
to
乓
talk
球
to the
啊、
doctor.
喝茶啊、聊天
And
啊，
if you know someone who is talking about or
然后或者
contemplating
是常常会
suicide,
觉得寂寞，
there is actually a hotline for Chinese language people.
或
And
者
the
是
telephone
甚至
number
有
is
那种
here,
轻生啊，或者是会跟你提到说，哎，我觉得人生很没有意义啊，活在世界上有什么意义的，像类似这种的言
There's
论
also
话。
an
那
English
我们有一
language
些
suicide
我们有一
hotline.
些
You can read
帮
the
助
number.
的这个
And of
电话
course,
热
a
线，
person can
那
call
您可以把它记一
911,
下。
which I would only recommend in the
然
setting
后
of
中文的
a
话
very
是
severe
1877
emergency,
9908555
where
1877
someone is at
990
high risk
8555
of getting hurt
1877
right away
990
if
8555，这个
there's
是
no
中文的热
help
线，
that comes.
所以您可以记录一下，这是中文的热
All
线。
right,
那
now
当
we're
然你也
going
可以
to
打，
move on.
您可以打
And I'd like to
911 911。
introduce Dr. Ramirez Gomez.
那接下来我
And
们由另外一
thank you
位大
for
哥是
being
另外一
with us
位
and just
龚
let
美
me
医
know when
生
you'd like me to advance
来
each
讲解
slide.
接下来主题，那就是
Thank you.
记忆
So
力
I am a
的维持，
neurologist and
然
I
后同
focus
时
on
失智症
the
的防治。
diseases of the brain that affect its structure and function, such as problems with memory loss, for
所以要
example,
在记忆
Alzheimer's
功能的维
disease,
持或者是丧失，
vascular
有关
problems. Maybe
脑
some
部
of you
方面
have
的
heard
结构
about
以及功能
vascular
方面来
dementia.
做一些知识的分享。
And that's what I'm going to talk about, how to preserve a healthy brain
然后我跟大
and
家
our
我要跟大
cognitive
家分享
functions, our
如何
memory,
维
our
持
language, our ability to interact
认
and
知
have a
功
healthy
能
life.
以及
Next.
记忆力，然后以有
And
正常的
again,
生活品质。
as we are minority groups, and I am too, I am from South America, Colombia, I
所以
am a
我
Latina.
我
And
个人
here,
也
as
是，
we
因为
are
我是拉丁
talking
裔，所以
to
我也算是
people
少数
who
民
are
族。
Asian
然后
Americans,
亚裔也
we
是
are，not
就是
white.
不管
So
是
we're different
亚洲人或者是
because
亚裔的美
we
人的话，
come
都
from
算
different
是
places, we have
都算是
different
少数民族。
backgrounds,
那因为我们来自不同的文
different
化背景，就是跟
socioeconomical and
就是美国
sociocultural
的白人文化、
environments.
主流文化比较起来，我
And
们来自于不同的文
unfortunately,
化、
there
不
are
同的
also
背景，
differences in the care that we receive.
所以
And
但
minorities in
是
general
就是很
tend
不
to
幸
be
的，在
underserved
目
by
前
the
的医
health
疗体
system.
制
What this
当
means, for
中，的确有
example,
观察到一
is
些
that
对于
people
少数民族，我
that
们可能
are
会有受
Hispanic,
到一些医疗的
Asians,
不平等、
Black,
不平等待遇，
usually
所以说我
receive
们自
a
己必须要有一
diagnosis
些
of cognitive
正确
decline
的
or
知识，
dementia
维护我
later
们自己的
on
权
in the
益。那我们
disease
今天
process
讲的
when the condition
是
is more
特别
advanced.
针对于失智
In other
症。
words, a white person is more likely to be diagnosed at an early stage compared to
所以数据
someone
有显示，
from a
比如说
minority
亚裔、
background.
拉丁裔或者
And not
是
only the
非裔，就是
diagnosis,
黑
but
人
also
族
the
群呢，
evaluation, to have a comprehensive
跟
evaluation,
白人
seek
族
care
群比
from
较
the
起
doctor.
来，
It's different.
数据显示白人
Next.
族裔会比较早
The
期
most
的被诊
important
断出
question that
有
I
失智症。
get, I
那其他
am
的少数
asked
裔的话呢，
most of the time
被
is
诊断的
how
时
can I
候相对
preserve
来
my
说
memory?
是比
How
较
can I
晚期。
keep my mind sharp and
那这
bright
边
as
有
I
几
get
个比较
older?
重要的问题 ，big
So it's
question 就是重要的
important to
问题，就是说
understand what is
什么样
normal
才是正
aging,
常的老
what
化？
happens as we
那
get
什么样的
older,
老
because
化是不
something
正常的？
happen
还有
and
就
there
是
are
什么
some
是阿兹
changes.
海默症，什么
But
是失智
where is
症？
that line
还有
when
就
things
是
are not normal?
that we have to start
我到底
thinking,
有
maybe
些什
something
么
is
事情
happening
可以
here
做，
and we need to ask for
能
some
够
help
帮助
and see
防
how
止或
we
者是
can get
减
some
缓
treatment or get a diagnosis.
失智症
We are also going to
的发
talk
生。
about what is Alzheimer's disease and dementia. People ask, what's Alzheimer? Is it the same as dementia? Is there any difference? And what can I do,
那常见的问题
if
就比如
anything,
说
to prevent
什么是阿兹
or
海默症，
delay
什么是失智症？
dementia?
阿兹海默症是不是
Next.
就是失智症？失智症就是阿兹海默症吗？像
So
这些
first
问
of
题。
all, we are going to start talking about what happens as we get older. So
所以我们
as
现
we
在要
get
先讲一
older,
下什么样的是正
usually
常的老化。
50s, 60s,
所以正
or
常老化
later,
就
you
是
know,
从
70s, 80s.
50岁
People
的时候、
start
60
having
岁的
these
时候、70
moments
岁
that
的
they
时候，
sometimes
然后
refer
我们开
as
始
to
会有这
senior
些，
moments. You know,
有
it's
的
like,
时候就
is
是
this
老
I'm
年
getting
时候
older,
特
or
有
is
的一
this something
些
more serious?
状况。
You know, versus Alzheimer's
然
disease.
后很重要就是说哪些是算是正常的
So, for
老化现象，
example,
什么
the
样才
tip of
是
the
有
tongue
可能是失
phenomenon,
智
when you
症，
want to say something and you
或
don't
者
remember, but
是
you
失智
know
症。
you have it
譬
there
如说，我
and
们
you
有的
have
时
to
候
think a
会
little bit hard, and
会
then
有的
it
时候会
comes.
说，哎，我
Then you
突然想不
remember,
起
but
来
it
有些
took you a
事情
little
要
bit
说
of
什么，哎，可
effort.
是，就是我
Sometimes those are normal.
我想要说一
The
些事情，可
difference
是我
is how
突然想不
frequent
出
they
来。
are. If that's
那
something that is
正常的
happening
老
every
化
single
跟
day,
失智
and then
症或
people
者是阿兹
start
海默症，就
noticing
是变
and
成就是
it
说
holds up
这
your
件事情到底
conversation,
有多平
then
常的
that
发
may
生，
be a problem that you may
就是
need
它
to
发生
have
的
an
频率。
evaluation for. But if it's once in a while, those things are normal and they could happen.
所以有一些
That's
呢
the same
是正
with
常的，
words. How do I call this? When we forget the name of something in particular, or
就
sometimes
譬如
even
说
we
可能是忘记
forget the
忘记
names
说，
of
哎，
people that
这
we
个东西
knew,
怎么说，
but
或者这个东西
then
叫什么，
after a while we remember.
就
But
是
again,
可
the
能
problem is when
哎
this
就
starts
是一时
happening
想不起来
very，often,
但是譬如
and
说过了
it
几分钟
interferes
或
with
几
our
小时或者几
conversations
天，
and our
哎，又
daily
可以
life.
说了，就是说还是可以想起来。
Other common examples include that we forget where we put our keys, and then we
那
have
另外
to
就
go
是
all
忘了
looking
把东西放到
around,
什么
or
地
when
方，
parking
譬
the
如说，
car,
哎，
sometimes
这
we
个
forget.
忘了把钥匙
It's
放在哪
also
里，
common
忘了
when
我
we
们
go
把
to one
车子停
room
在哪
and we
里，
say, oh, what is that I was going to get from here? And
或
then
者
we have to
是我
think
们
again to
走
remember.
到一个
Those
房
things
间，
are common,
然后
but
会突然
again,
忘记，就
the
是说，
difference
哎，
is how
我
frequent
到这
are
个房
those
间
happening. If
要
this
做
is
什么？
a
那有
daily
些其实是
problem,
正常的老
and
化，
then family
那所以
are
就是
calling
要
on you
注
and
意到
saying,
这个发
Mom,
生的
Dad,
频率，还有跟以前比较起
this
来，
is happening a lot. How
这
do
个
you
频率
feel?
是
Then it may be
有
a
没有
problem if it's
跟以
very
前
frequent.
比起来，就是
But if
突
it's
然
infrequent,
就
like
常
once
常
a
发生，一直不
week
停
or
的发
once
生，
once
就是
a
频率跟以
month,
前比较
then
起
it
来
may
多了，
not be a
突然
problem.
多了很多。
In
那这时
any
候
case,
就
the
有可能需要
conclusion here is
做
that
需要
if you
寻找专业
wonder,
医生的
is this normal
治
or
疗。
not? What do I do here? It's always better to have an evaluation. So my advice to
所以
you
这
is
时候
that
就可以
if you
寻
have
求
any
专业医生的
question,
帮助，
is this
或
normal
寻
or
求医
not?
生的评
It's
量。
better to consult with the doctor.
就是说，如
And
果
in
您
this
有
case,
怀疑，
it
就是这
usually
到底
starts
是
with your
正常
primary
还是
care
不
doctor
正常的老化，
who
那
does
您
the
就
initial
这就是
evaluation,
时
and
候
then
去
they will
寻找医
refer
师
you
了。
to a
所以去寻找医
neurologist
生做
who
评
is a
量，
doctor of the
可能
brain
会跟您说这
to
是正常的老
conduct
化，或者
additional
是
investigations
或
if
者是可
necessary.
能比较需要注意，有
Next.
可能是阿兹海默症或失智症，但是这是
Again,
都
to
需要专业的
summarize, so
评
when
量，
do we
不要
worry?
自己在那边猜
We
想。
worry when we start having memory loss that is
然后什
not
么时
just those
候
episodes
要
of
开
mild
始注意呢？
forgetfulness
或
that
什
I
么时
talked
候才
about
开始需要
before,
担心这些
but
事情
are
呢？
remembering things that maybe happened yesterday. Or when you start asking
这些包
repetitive
括
questions,
有关
you
记
know, or when
忆
you start
记忆
noticing,
力的丧
my
失。
mom already told
所
that
以不
story
是说
twice today.
不是说
Or
暂
I
时一
already
时的
told
想
her
不起
this
来
and
信
she's
息，
asking
而
repetitively.
是
She doesn't
而
remember
是
the
就是
answer
譬
I
如
am
说
giving her.
同样的
That's
事情一
something
直不停
that's more
的
serious
不
and
停
needs
的
an
重复的询
evaluation.
问同样的问
The
题，比如说同
same
样问
if
题问
someone is having
连续问个3
difficulties
次、
with
4次、
language.
5次的话，那这
When
时候就
we,
要
for
注意。
example, speak
还有
two
就是
language, let's
说
say
话，
you speak
比如说
Mandarin or
比如
Cantonese
说
as
以
your
前可以
first
使用
language, and
双
you
语，
learn some English.
可以讲
As
英文也可以讲
someone
中文，
starts having having difficulties with language, it's frequent that they forget the use of the second language first.
但是一开始，譬如说以前可以使用的第二语言，现在比较不行了。然后可是母语还是可以，所以通常会从第二外国语或者是第二语言，你比较少用的就是非母语。可是你可以说，比如说如果您是主要讲中文，可是你也可以说英文，或是可以说简单的英文。可是现在您发觉就是以前可以讲的英文，现在比较有问题的话，那这有可能是一个早期的症状。
Having loss of initiative. For example, someone that was the life of the party, talkative, happy, always there, planning events, doing things, and then slowly, gradually, that person is not as interested interested, not planning as many things.
所以另外还有就是说，
not going to social
突然
events,
的
not interested in
算是
attending
人格
things.
的改
That's
变，
also
或者是特质的
another
改变。譬如说，你
point
本来以
that
前
you
是在
should get an
你去参加一
evaluation
个聚
for
会，
or
你总
talk to the
是高
doctor.
谈阔论啊，
Next.
跟大家谈的都很开心。可是突然就是什么事
And
都不
here I'm
想，
going to answer the
什么事都不
question
想
of
说，突然
what's
变得就是社
dementia
交疏离，
and
那这
what's
些
the
都需要
difference
注意。
between dementia and
然后这
Alzheimer's.
边给大家可以
So
看到一些数
dementia
字，
is a genetic term,
就是有关
and
失
what
智
this
症的有
refers
可能
to
导
is
致
to
的
the
原因，
loss of
以及它
abilities
的
to
预
function
防。
independently in life. For example, you are able to pay your bills, go to
那失
places,
智症大家可
plan
以看到，失智症
activities,
可以 可
conduct
能
your
有
life in
很
an
多不同的
independent
原因，
way,
有
but
可
as
能
someone
有
starts
可能
losing
是
those
阿兹海默症，
abilities,
阿
for
兹海默症
example,
并不等同于
because
失
they
智
are
症，
not able
但
to
它却是失智
remember, to
症
plan, to pay the bills, or
最
go to
常
the
见的一个
grocery
原因，是因
store,
为有
or
阿兹海默
cook,
症，
they
所以会
need
产生这些
to
失智症的症状。
depend on
那
other
其他有
people
包
to help
括
them.
血管型
That's
的
what
失
we
智
call
症，
dementia, when someone loses their
或者
abilities
是
to
混
function
合型的失智症，
independently. Then
或者
dementia is
是
caused by different
某一些这个
diseases
叫
or
路易斯
conditions. And the
染
most
色
common
体
one by far is
所
Alzheimer's
病变
disease.
所引起的失
But
智症，
others, and usually one that is actually common in
还有就
people of Asian
是
heritage is
frontal
vascular
那个
dementia that is
脑部
associated
前
with vascular risk
叶
factors
所产
including
生的
history of
失智症，
stroke, hypertension,
还有一些另一些
diabetes,
其他的。
smoking.
所以这边看
And
到的
then there
62、
are other
17%、
causes of dementia that are less
10%、4%、
frequent that
2%
sometimes
以
we
及
call
5%， 就是
mixed
一
or
些
other types.
它的
Next.
百分比，所以不是
So dementia is
100%
an
的
umbrella term.
失智
What
症，
this
所
means
以你可以
is
看到
that
它算是一个
dementia is just a 大
雨
generic
伞一
name.
样，
We
所以
call
失智症
dementia
就包括刚刚
to any
说的这
condition
些，
that cause someone to lose their abilities
就
to function
60%以上
independently.
是
And
阿兹海
again,
默症，
under
但是
that
另外还有血管
umbrella,
型失
we
智
have
frontal
Alzheimer's
temporal
disease,
这个
vascular dementia, or other types.
前叶
One example
的
that I
失智
give to
症，
people is like
然
having
后
fever.
路易
You
斯
have fever. That's a name, it's generic, but
染
what is
色
causing
体
that fever?
的失
Is
智
it
症，
that I have a
然后甚至
urinary
帕金森氏
infection
症
or pneumonia
也会
or
引起
an
相关
infection
的
of the skin?
失
So
智症。
that's the difference. That one is kind of the big name, generic, but the other one is more specific. It refers as to what's the cause of the
还有另
problem.
外其他
Next.
一些中风
So
也
there
有
is
可
a
能导
continuum.
致
It's
失
not
智症
that。someone all of a sudden rapidly
那
loses
在
all
这
their
边的这个
abilities
图
and
形，
one
大家可
day
以看到，
was perfectly
这个
fine and
红色
then
的这
in
条
a
线是
week is
正
not
常的
able
老
to
化
do，anything
然
by
后
himself.
左边的这条
It's
Y
more
轴
of a
呢，它
slowly
是表示
progressive
它的认
condition.
知功
And
能，
usually
然
it's
后
even difficult to pick up at the
底下这
beginning
个
because it's
横线
difficult to
的
distinguish is
X
this
轴
normal or
是
not, what's
表示
happening
年
here.
纪越来越
But
大，
as
所以
you see that the symptoms
往右边就
continue
是
to
年纪越来越大，
progress,
往上面就
then
是
you start
功
realizing
能。
that
所以你可以看到我
something
们
is
的认
happening
知
here.
功
And
能
that's
随
what
着
the
年纪的
graph
增
is
长
showing
会逐
is
渐
a
的减弱，但是
continuum.
它是一
And
些
the dotted
算
line,
是
what
比
it
较平
shows
缓
is that that's a
平缓
decline
的
that
直线，
goes
逐渐
from
老化，
not
一直
having
到最后
symptoms
生命的
to
末期才会比
having
较
early symptoms,
一
that's what we call
一个就是
preclinical, to
快速的下
MCI,
降。
which
但是您可以
stands
看到
for
这条虚线，
mild
这条虚
cognitive
线呢
impairment.
就
Is
是
where
阿
the
兹海默
Maya
症。
symptoms
阿兹
start
海默症
to
所
be
引起的
noticeable
认知功
and
能的
then
减
slowly
退，你可以
progress
看到
over the course
它会
of
在有
years
点
to
比较早期或者是
dementia.
中期的时候
Next.
就会开始，然后它会突然的下降的非常严
So
重。
I'm going to stop here to give a positive point, which is that there are things we can do to modify
但是值得注意的
a
就是说，
risk.
有一些
You
好
know,
消
people
息。 好
always
消
ask,
息，
what can
这
I
好
do?
消
I
息就是
don't
说
want to get
的确有一
dementia.
些
Is
我
there
们
anything
可
I
以
can
早
do
期
to
了
change
解、
the risk?
早期治
And
疗、
the
早期
answer
预
is
防的一
yes.
些风险
And
因
here I
素，
want to point out to
我们可以了
research
解。所以大家
that
今天来
has
参加讲座，
shown
就可
that
以
there are
做一些
modifiable risk
笔记，
factors,
了解一
things
些
that we
这
can
些
intervene on to
相关的
decrease
风
the
险，
risk
所以我
of
们可以
dementia.
及早
And
做
as
一
you
些
read at the bottom
有一
of
些
that
相
graph,
应措施，我们是
there
可以
are
做
things
的。
we can change and others we cannot. For example,
有一些事情是我
if
们可
we
以改
are
变的，
seniors
有一
now,
些
we
事
cannot
情
change how much
我们不可
education
以
we
不能
received
改
when
变
we
的。
were younger. You know, if we completed elementary school or
譬如
high
说，我
school
们不
or
能改 改变我们的年纪，年纪我们现在几岁就是几岁，我们年纪是不能改变的。但是有一些是可以改变，比如说可以减少或者是戒烟。
This is not only for the lungs, also for the heart, also for the brain. People who smoke have a
所以
higher
吸烟呢
risk
会
of
影响到
dementia,
肺部的功
specifically
能，
vascular dementia.
还有脑部的功能，
So
还
I
有整个身
encourage
体的
you
功能。所
respectfully to
以
consider quitting
在这边希望呢
smoking,
大家能够
reducing the
考虑戒
amount
烟。
of
如果还有
smoking, all
抽烟的
that's
习
good
惯
for
的
your
话，
brain.
那如果没有
avoiding cigarette smoking.
但是如果没有
Next
抽
is
烟的习
physical
惯是最好。
inactivity. So I encourage you to exercise, go for
那另外一
walks.
个就是
And as
要
we are going to
运
hear
动，
later
大家
on,
都知
do
道运动
more
的重要，
physical
但是
activity
运动是真的非常
and
非常重要的。
depression. Because
要
as we
活就要
already
动，
heard earlier
运动是真
today,
的非常重
there
要的，
are
但是要做
treatments
适
for
合自
that.
己
So
的
it's
运动。
very important to seek
那运
help.
动也是对
Next.
这个很多都有好处，对脑部也好，对身心健康都好。
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll describe the next several slides.
那接
And
下来再跟大家介绍一
something
下
that's
有关
really
于这个
fascinating
生活，
is that lifestyle can
有
mean
关
so
生活
much.
形式，
In fact,
所以这些
if
都
you
是
have
我
a
们可以
poor
改
lifestyle,
变决定的。
and we'll
然后
talk
这边
about
想
what
跟大家
that
强调就是
means,
说，
you have
生
2
活
to
形式、
3
生活形
times
态
the risk of dementia
可以
than if you
有
have
可
a better
能就是
lifestyle.
如果有不好的生活
So,
形态的话，有可能
what
让失智症
factors
的
are
产生的几率增加到2到
helpful,
3倍。
right? And what factors are
所以说
harmful?
有一
Well,
些
these
呢
are some factors that reduce your brain's cognitive reserve. What does the reserve mean? The reserve
所以说影
means
响脑部功能，就是
the
说，
capacities in our brain that
所以
enable
脑
us
部
to
它有一些
compensate
功能，然后
for
它
when we
会
have
它会
difficulty
是
or when we
有
have
一些就
struggle. So
是
for example,
保留的功能，
let's
就是
say
说，
you
当我
lose a
们
map,
的
right? You might still have some memory of it in your head, how you were going to get from one
所以，譬如
place to
说某
another.
一部分的功
That's
能，脑
your
部功能丧失
reserve.
的时候，
Okay.
那可是脑
These
部
are
有一
the
些其
things
他保留的
that
替
reduce
代的
the
功能，
reserve.
所以说脑部的
If
功能
you
其实
have
是可
poor
以，
sleep
就是可以
hygiene,
取代一
hygiene
些
means
我
a
们
kind of
逐渐
cleanliness, you could say.
丧失以及
We'll
老
talk
化的功
about
能。可是这些
specifics of sleep
这个脑
hygiene.
部的
If your
所谓
nutrition
保
is
留
poor,
或者
and
是
we'll
取
talk
代的
about
功
your
能呢，
diet.
有可能减少
If
或
you're
者是
in the
消
very
失。
difficult position of
如果我们
having
没
an
有维
addiction to
持一个好的，
substances
譬如说
or
睡眠习惯，
smoking,
就是说
if
常
you
常
have
熬
a
夜
very
啦，
sedentary
睡眠
lifestyle,
的
which
习
means that
惯
you're sitting
不定时
a
的睡
lot
眠
of
习
the
惯。
time, you're not active, you're not exercising.
另外就
And
是
also
运动，
not
还
getting the
有
right
营养，
medical care, not getting the right
还有
medical
抽
care for
烟，还有另
diabetes,
外是使用一
for
些
any heart conditions like high blood pressure,
那个
high
药物，譬如
cholesterol,
说吸食大麻或使用其
not
他一些药
treating
物啊。
depression or
还有
anxiety.
就是如果一些疾病没有
So
治疗，
these are
包
important
括
to
糖
be
尿病没
aware
有
of.
治
These
疗，心脏病没有
diminish
治疗，忧郁症没有治疗，焦虑症没有治疗的话，
I
都
just
会
muted
影响
myself.
到
So
这
can
些
we
脑部的功能。
increase our brain reserve? Well, fortunately we can. So I want to
但
share
是
with you a
同
couple
样的，
studies here.
另一方面，我
First,
们也可
diet.
以增进我们的
Okay,
脑部这些保
here
留
is
以
the
及
good. And JAMA here on the
取代的
left,
功
that
能。
stands for the Journal of the American Medical Association,
所以
which
这
is
边
one of
JAMA
our most
是 American Medical Association，
well-respected
所以是
scientific
美国
journals.
医
Okay,
学协会
so in the
它
good
所
category
发表的
are
期刊。
eating
那
fruits,
这位
nuts, vegetables, whole
卢
grains,
瑞达医生
fish,
在
and
2019 年
dairy.
所发表的
And on the
文
other
章
hand, on the bad
告诉我
side
们，
are
绿
processed
色的
meats,
是好的，所以
refined
包括
grains,
水果、
sugar-sweetened beverages,
坚果类、
trans
蔬
fats,
菜、
such as in potato
全
chips,
麦，
also in all kinds of
鱼类，
baked goods,
还
anything of
有一些乳制
partially
品，
hydrogenated
是算
oils.
是比较好的食物。
Having too high amounts of sodium and
那如
drinking
果不好的
alcohol.
食物呢，就是主要就是说
That
精致
whole
过的食物，
alcohol
所以
issue
包
is
括香肠、火
it's
腿这
quite
种经过精
difficult.
致过的食物，
Certainly
或者
drinking too
是
much alcohol,
精致
meaning
过的谷
more
类，
than 1
所以
to
像是
2
白面
drinks
包，
on a daily
而不是全麦
basis.
面包。另外还有
Certainly
就
that's
是
quite bad,
一
quite
些含糖的饮
detrimental
料。
to your
那另外
memory.
就是反
Now
式脂
lower
肪，
amounts of
反式脂肪，譬如
alcohol
说像
are also not great,
薯片，
but they're probably not
还
that
有一
bad for
些
you.
含
And so what we
含钠量
advise
很
or
高，
what
比
we
如说就
recommend
是
for
一
alcohol
些高
is if
含钠
you're
量
going to
的，就是
drink,
很咸
drink
的食物。
on
还有
occasional
就是酒
social
精。
situations, perhaps 1 or 2 drinks, but not more.
所
And
以如果
not
要饮
have
酒的
it
话，
be a daily
也要
thing.
注意适量，不要过度，所有事情
Dairy.
都不要过
Dairy is
量
a。very interesting issue because many of you may have heard in the newspapers or health advice that you should avoid high fat.
有的研究说好，有的研究说不好。
There have been many recent studies in the past 3 to 5 years that suggest that high fat dairy is not harmful, and in fact, it might be more protective than low fat dairy. And so we have here some specific populations, some specific studies within Chinese populations. So, for example, the first one I've listed here, Chua and Talea, so 2 separate reports studied Chinese population in Singapore and found higher dairy was associated with less dementia. And there are even some studies that look at particular chemicals within dairy and find that fermented dairy, so things like yogurt and cheeses, that those contain particularly protective molecules. Perhaps this is the newest science, but it's not always the final word. Nevertheless, it's encouraging for those of you who like dairy in your diet. Another study, very recent in Chinese people, found that eating legumes, vegetables, milk, and dairy and nuts, but low levels of noodles and cereals, so that the balance is more on the legumes, vegetables, milk, and dairy, and nuts. They had less mild cognitive impairment and better language and memory function. There are similar findings from a Japanese cohort, but the summary of the evidence is we're not 100% sure. We're not 100% sure, but I think the fact that we're not 100% sure should be reassuring. Because if we found any really clear extreme danger from these, we would know already. We would definitely know that these would be there. So I think it's safe to say, including an ample amount of dairy in your diet is safe, and it might even be beneficial for reducing your dementia risk. Now, here are the clearly risky foods. Okay? These are the foods that might worsen your memory, particularly if you eat them on a regular basis, daily, multiple times a day. Red meat, sugary candy, sugary desserts, sugary beverages, other high sugar foods, really, really negative for the brain. And foods high in trans fats. These baked goods that have partially hydrogenated oils, or fried foods are often also high in trans fats. Fried foods can really contain a high number of these, and they're bad not only for the brain, but also for the heart, because they make the blood vessels very, very tight, where the blood vessels can't move well appropriately. So those are very risky ones. So this has been published by Old Ways as the Asian Diet Pyramid. So this is a summary of what we've been talking about. So these are the good things in your diet that you should eat most regularly. Whole grains, vegetables, fruits, nuts, beans, legumes, and then fish and shellfish are also good, at least twice per week. Moderate amounts, meaning once a day or maybe once a week. Eggs, poultry, healthy cooking oils, yogurt here. I think this was published in 2018 before these additional studies in dairy. I think yogurt can be moved down, to the fish level here. And then
像鱼类就可以
meats and
就是
sweets should
越
be
底
less
下呢
often.
就
They
可
should
以
be
越常吃越
reserved
多
for
吃，
special occasions.
越上面的话
And
就
then
要越
drink
少
water
吃，
and
最好就
tea.
是逢年
So
过节真的是非常
several
特殊有意义的时候，
studies,
想要放纵一下的时候再吃这些，
epidemiological
比如
studies,
说
meaning
红肉啊、
studies
牛
of
排啊、
populations
海鲜啊
that
之
are
类的，
large scale
就是但是要尽
have
量
shown
少
that
吃。
drinking green tea, in particular, green tea is beneficial for extending
那研究有发
longevity,
现，我们
and it
亚裔
also
喜欢喝的绿
contains
茶是有
some
帮助的，对于
molecules that
健康
may
是有帮
help
助的。
protect the
譬如
brain.
说，它可以帮助一
But
些一些
We
分子可以
don't
帮
want to
助。
drink green tea too late because it contains caffeine, and
保护脑部的健康，
caffeine
但是要注意
takes
什么
on
时候喝，
average
因
6
为
hours
不要太晚喝，因为
just
绿
to
茶里面
get
有
to half,
咖啡因的
just to
含量，
get to
所以咖
half
啡
of the
咖啡
level
因需要
that
6
it
个小时
had
的时
when
间
you
才可以
first
代
drank
谢
it.
到一半，
Okay,
所以
so
可
that
能白
means
天的时候
that
可以喝，
if you
可是
drink
晚上的时候
a
不要
cup
喝，
of
不然的
tea
话
at
会
4
影响我们的
p.m.
睡眠。
with
那我们刚刚之
caffeine,
前
at 10
有
p.m. at
有提
night,
到，
half of it
就是
is
说
still
睡
in your
眠，
system
规律的
and
睡眠也是
affecting
非常
your
重要的，
brain
早睡早起
and
身体好。
reducing your sleep. So for
所以我们
tea,
如果
we
下午4点才
advise
喝
that
茶
you
的话，
have
那到了
your
晚上
last
10
drink
点的
of
话
tea or any other
才降了一
caffeinated
半，里面
beverages
的
or
咖啡因才
caffeinated
降一半，
food
所以不
no
只是绿
later
茶
than 1 or 2 p.m. in
所以
the
是建议就是
afternoon.
说最好在
All
下
right,
午
I'm
2
going to
点
pass it
之
back
前
to Dr. Ramirez
含
Gomez.
咖啡因的饮
We
料
are
最好
going
就
to
是要避
continue
免，就
talking
是
about
2点
healthy
或1点之
habits
后。
that are important to
那现在
promote
接下来我们
a
跟大家
healthy
分享
brain,
正常以及
and
健
this
康睡眠
includes sleep.
对于健康脑部的
Perhaps
重要
some of
性。
you have noticed that as we get older, it's likely that sometimes we tend to sleep less or maybe harder to
所以
sleep.
年
And
纪
it
大的
could
时候，
be
有的时候会
that
觉
it's
得说，好
difficult
像
to
就
fall
是
asleep,
睡
or
眠
we
可
wake
能
up too
不需
early,
要
or we have an
太多，或者
interrupted
是说
sleep, meaning
就
that
是
we
很
have
容
to
易
wake
起
up
来，或者
many
是很
times.
早就起来，或者
Sometimes
是
people have problems
或者
because they need to get up
是
and use
一
the
个晚上会醒
restroom,
来
go
好
to the
几次。
bathroom at night, or different situations. So what we are going to talk about is the importance of good sleep and a good amount of hours. Why is this?
所以
Because
这边跟大家
it
分
turns
享一下
out
怎么
that
样算
while we
是
sleep,
比较合适，
actually
或
the
者
brain
是
is
健
working.
康
And there are parts of the brain,
的
specifically
睡
the
眠时
cleanup
数。
system.
那事实上在睡眠的时
Imagine
候，
that
脑部
the
其实在
garbage
做一些功
pickup
能，
comes at
就
nighttime
是说
when you
它是其
sleep.
实在清除一
That's
些
what
脑部的
happens
废
with the
物，
brain,
有
specifically
点
with
像
the
是脑
proteins
部
that are
每天
not
都会
good,
产
the
生一
ones
些
that
垃
are
圾。
bad,
那我们在
and
睡眠的时候
accumulate in
呢，
the brain. They
脑部
are
啊，
being
它的一些系
cleaned
统就
at
会开
night
始
as
清
we
除一些
sleep.
脑
And
部
that's
累
the
积
reason it's
的
important
一些
because
废物。
we
那如
need
果
to
我们
have
没
that
有，如
restorative
果我们没有
sleep
好的睡
so
眠的
the
话，那
brain
脑部就
can
没有
be cleaned
机
up.
会跟时间来
That's,
清除这
like
些
an
脑部
example of how
累
to
积的一些
explain
废物
this,
跟
but
垃
it's
圾。
true. There is a lymphatic system that gets rid of the proteins at night as we sleep.
所以这些就
So
是一
it's
些比
very
较不好的
important
蛋
that
白
we
质，
take care of
我
our
们就是
sleep
要脑部
if
必
we
须要定期的清
understand
除，所以我们要
why
给
we
脑
need
部一些
it.
机
Not
会。
only to
那这
feel
些机会
very
就是
rested in
正
the
常和规律
morning,
的
have
睡
a
眠。
lot of energy to go do all the things,
所以
all
说
the
睡
healthy
眠如果
behaviors
品
we
质
are
不
talking
好
about
的
today,
话，
but also so we can
早
get
上起
rid
来的
of
时候
these
可能就
bad
会没有
proteins that
没有
tend
精
to
神，但是
accumulate
睡
in the
眠
brain and cause
如果比较
disease.
好的话，那
And
隔
for
天的
that, it's very important to
生
have
活
a
啊
good
就可能
sleep
会比较有效
hygiene.
率，
What this
精神也
means
会比
is
较
that
好。
we have to have
这
a
就
good
是因为
routine
脑部的
that
垃
would
圾也没
allow
有被
us to
清
go to
除，
bed at the same
有很
time
大的
every
关系。
night, wake up as much as we can regularly at the same time every day,
所以
and
最好
have
有
a
规律的睡
total
眠就
amount of
是
hours of
定
sleep be
时
good and consistent.
休
So
息，
as it's
开
pointed
始
in
我
the
们的睡
table
眠，
there,
然后
the
定时起
amount of
床，就是
sleep
不
that
要
a
有的时
person
候
needs
很早睡，有的时
varies
候很晚睡，
depending
这样
on
换来
the
换去，
age.
最好有规律的
So
睡眠。
let's say about 61 to 64, you need 7 to 9 hours.
所以，譬如说
Older than
61到60岁的
65,
时候，
about
大概
7
需
to
要
8.
7到9个
So
小时，
in
那65
general,
岁以上可
the
能就
amount
减
of
少
sleep that
到7到8
everybody
个小时。
needs is different because there are people
但
that
是
tend to
每
be
个人
good
所需要的睡
sleepers
眠
and
时
they
间
sleep
呢也
perhaps
不
too
一样，
much, and others
有的
that
人需要
all their life
睡
has
比较
sleep
长的
6
时间，
hours. So this
有
is
些
a
只要睡比较
generalization, but it's
少的
very
时间，
important.
譬如说只要
And
6个小时，
sometimes people take
所以
naps
每
too.
个人状况
Those
不一样。
count for the total amount of hours of sleep, but I would say that taking a nap, it's only good if you have a good night of sleep at nighttime. If you take a nap during the day, but then you are not able to fall asleep on time, you stay awake past midnight and then you cannot fall asleep, then naps are not recommended. It's better that you stay awake all day and save all your sleep for nighttime. So be
所以
consistent.
最好就是
Try to have
说，
a routine.
维持一个就是每天的时刻表，然后最好不要在白天的时候睡觉，因为如果白天睡眠太长的话，会影响晚上的睡眠，所以最好是白天的时间呢，就把所有的事情都全部都做完，包括我们日常需要说的活动，然后做运动，然后晚上要睡觉的时候呢，就是专心的睡觉，就是说就是一段比较长的时间睡觉，而不是白天的时候睡几个小时，晚上的时候再睡几个小时，最好是都留到晚上的时候来睡觉，然后把睡觉的时间调整好，还有睡觉的环境也调整好，比如说减少一些3C产品的干扰，或者是在睡觉之前不要就是吃很多东西，因为肚子很胀的话，就可能不方便入睡，或者是就是刚刚有提到的，就是说不要太晚喝茶啊，或者是喝咖啡。那如果真的有睡眠方面的习惯的话，因为有些人可能会其实是有一些睡眠的疾病，比如说睡眠呼吸中止症，所以那原因是因为就是说睡眠呼吸中止症就是说，因为他在睡眠的时候没有办法呼吸，所以他把自己身体的这个安全机制会启动，就是把这个个人叫醒，自己把自己叫醒，因为必须要呼吸，然后可是又睡觉，然后又叫醒，又呼吸又睡觉，有的时候是因为睡眠呼吸中止症。那这样的话，就是必须要经由专业医师的评估跟治疗。那还有就是您必须要看一下，如果您有服用一些药物，或是您使用的一些药物，或者是不管是医生开的药物，或者是自己不用的药物，那有一些医师所开的药物里面可能会有一些帮助睡眠的成分，那这些要注意。因为有一些药物会让你会想要睡觉，会让你觉得因为需要休息嘛，所以可能会让你想要休息，想要睡觉。所以您可以看到这个粉红色、蓝色包装的这个药物，可能就会因为它里面会有一些会让你想要睡觉的成分，所以要注意，可能不要长期的服用。而且它有可能会造成就是视觉会有一些就是会看不清楚，然后口干舌燥，还有会让你的思考会有一点不大清晰。
There are also other habits, such as smoking or people that smoke marijuana or use other drugs.
所以这些是可能就是好像就是说会帮助你睡眠，但其实要注意，因为它会有一些刚刚讲的这些副作用，所以要非常注意。然后最左边这个是就是在药房里面自己可以买到，那另外有一些医生开的药物也要注意，还有就是一些就是毒品方面的话也是要注意。那接下来讲的是有关一些这个辅助性的所谓保健食品，比如说维他命。像大家到药房的时候就会看到一堆很多的各式各样的维他命，有的说可以帮助你的记忆，有的说可以让你有精神，就是各式各样的，就是这些这个各式各样的功效，就是做广告。但是大家都要注意，就是说这些不见得是有真实的疗效，有点像是广告的效用，就吸引人家去买，但是不见得是真的有效。所以说，如果大家有疑问的话，最好是自己做一些研究，然后询问自己的医生。比如说，大家去看自己的医生的时候，可以把你自己吃的一些维他命一的名称写下来，或是直接带去给医生看，问一下医生专业医师的意见，然后不要自己下一个结论，就是说，你看这个它上面写说对于这个某些功能有帮助，那我这个最近记性不好，那我就吃这个保健品就好了。这个还是要寻求专业医师的帮助。
But also some of them could have other side effects that may not be as safe. Next.
所以最重要的是就是均衡健康的营养是最重要最好的。
All right, thank you
而不
so
是
much,
去吃一些保健品。
Dr. Ramirez. So, and I noticed that there are some questions popping up which we'll get to at the end.
好，谢谢。那我们会，我们看到大家有一些问题，那我们会在最后的时候我们会来回答问题。那现在我们现在先讲一下，在跟社交上面有关的一些事情，我们可以做来帮助维持脑部的健康。然后
getting together with family members in person and friends
然后尤其因为疫情，就是我们这个新冠肺炎的关系，就是有一些之前可以跟一些家人朋友这个聚在一起做的社交活动，现在不行。所以这件事情就是变成就是说是一个比较严重的问题。还有就是说大家旅行可能就比较不大容易。
A consequence of it, and if loneliness is a consequence, that can be a problem.
就是说，之前有的一些社交资源
交际网络
，2016 specifically looked at a sample of
hundreds of Chinese people. And Chinese people who were lonely had a higher chance of developing dementia. And men were even more at risk from this than were women. And loneliness is being studied scientifically for what molecules in the body changes. And it's clear that there are biological effects of social loneliness. So,
所以可能对我们来说，华人以及社交资源网络、家庭资源网络是很重要的。
There are many activities that you can do
那有很多活动是我们大家可以做的，所以可以帮助我们健康的脑部功能的维持。
to help challenge your brain
所以
to preserve your memory,
社交跟认
preserve
知
the
的
speed at which
活
you
动
think and
可以
talk
帮
and
助我们，
move.
有点像是脑部
These are
也在
things
做一些
like
运动。
learning new skills.
所以包括
You know,
学习新的知识，
there's this saying in English,
学习
but
新
it's
的
a
技
myth.
巧。
It's not true.
所以
Okay?
英文
And
上
the
面有一句话，
saying is, you can't teach an old dog new
有一个
tricks.
不正确的说法是说
I
老
don't know
狗
if
学
you
不了
have the
新法
same
系，
saying in
但是
Chinese.
这是不正确
But
的。
in English, it's a saying that suggests
所以说
that if you get
老年
older,
人
you can't learn anything new.
老
You
年
should
人
just
不能
stop.
学新的事情，这个是
But
不
it's
正确
really
的。
not
最新
true.
的研究显
There's
示，
clear evidence that there's
活到老学到老，
neuroplasticity, meaning the brain
就是说
continues to be able to remodel and to
只要
learn
我
new
们不停止
things,
学习，我们永
even
远都可
as
以学
you're
习，不
getting
管我们年纪
older.
有多大。
And so learn new skills.
所
Stay
以
active in the
永远都要不
community.
断的终身学习，不
Social
管我们年纪
groups,
有多大。
participation in social groups like at the Chinese Culture Connection can
没
be
有就是说，哦，我
helpful.
年纪太大，我没有办法
Also,
学新的事
religious
情，
groups
没有
can
这
be
件事情，
helpful if you
只有
have
说
religious or
我们
spiritual
想不想学。
beliefs or other kinds of social organizations. And keep in touch with loved ones.
所以就是
Live
说，要维持我们
communication
自己
is
好的
best.
网络，就是要
In
珍惜我
person
们
is
的家人，
best,
珍惜
but
我的朋友，
if
我
that's
们的
not
朋友
possible,
要懂
then
得感恩，因为
calling
这
on
些
the
都
phone
是
and talking, or
这些都是
virtual FaceTime is
对于我们
better
的脑部健康是
than
非常有帮助
texting.
的。
You know,
然后
the
就算不
texting
能
back
面
and
对面
forth
见
is
面，因为健康
not
还是很
quite
重
as
要。
positive for the
那
brain.
但是我
Even
们还是
though
可以打电话
if
啊，
it's all you
我们可以
have,
视讯啊，我
then
们可以
use
参加
it.
视讯会议
Absolutely.
啊，像这
So,
样我们可以跟朋友视讯聊天
activity
啊，
in both
或者是
mid
打电话
and
都
late
可以的。
life. Midlife is 40 to 60 years old.
所以40
Late
岁到
life is
60的
over
岁
60.
40
Has
岁到
been
60
shown
岁
to
的
have
时候就是中
protective
年期，
effects.
或者
And
是
here are
老
a
年的
number
时
of
候，就60 岁
examples
以后，刚
that
刚
you
说的
can
这
use.
些活动，
Doing
社
puzzles
交
and
活动
games,
都可以对于
reading
我们的脑部的
books,
健康有很多的
newspapers,
帮
and
助。就是比如
magazines,
说我们做这些
learning by
拼
taking
图的
art
游戏啊，
classes,
或者是
dance
那个填字
classes,
游戏啊，
continuing
玩一些游
education,
戏啊，也是可以的。
crafting,
还有读
right,
书，不管
socializing,
是书籍、
and
报
doing
纸、文章、
community
杂志都可
activities,
以。
including
就是学
volunteering,
习，可以学
attending
跳舞啊，
concerts,
这
trying new
个
restaurants.
持续的教
All
育
of these
啊，
are
这
very
个种
helpful
茶不
for the
应该说
brain.
是插花，这个喝茶，各式
All
各
right,
样活动
next,
都可以。那这边看到
exercise.
就是说活动
Exercise.
或者是运动，
Get
你
your
看这
heart
位
pumping.
老年人，你看他也是参加这个正式的这
This
个
is
跑步
one
活
of the
动，
most
说不定
important
是马拉松的
things,
活动，
right?
但我们
Because
不需要做太
many
剧烈的
people
活动，
ask,
每一个人的健
you
康状
know,
况不一样，
I'm
但是就是
having problems with my
运
memory.
动要活就
Can
要
this
动。
improve? or am I
然
just
后
gonna
脑部的健
keep
康，
where
所
I
以就说我
am
们好
or
像说，
just
哎，
go
我们这个
down?
只是我不需
Or
要
can
驱
my
动，
memory
我不需
actually
要这个
improve?
6块肌什么之类
And
的。
there
但
are
是其实
actually
生理上面的活
several
动
studies
可
of
以帮助
physical activity
脑部的健
that
康。
show that regular
所以这一
cardiovascular
些是大家
exercise,
可
and
以
I'll
看
tell you
到，
what that means, 3 or more times a week is
所以每个
associated
礼拜
with
只要活
lower
动
risk of
3到
progressing from that mild
4次，
cognitive impairment
每
state
周
or
的
MCI
和
that
缓
Dr.
的
Ramirez
运
was
动、身
talking
体活
about
动
to
可以
dementia.
减少我们得
And
到脑
also
部功
that
能丧失，譬
improving
如说失
fitness
智
has
症
been
的
shown
机会，
to actually boost memory and to boost daily
同时可以
functioning
有
in
可以
patients
增
with
加
dementia
强化我
and
们
in
日
patients who
常生
have
活的记忆
mild
力
cognitive
以及认知
impairment
功能。
who are
所以
noticing the
说，
beginnings
不但可以
of
减少
these
认知
memory
功能的丧失，
problems,
甚至可以
they
让我们的认知功能变得更好。
improve global
那只需要
cognition,
每周3到4次的
improve
活动，
executive
意思就是
function,
说我们一定
meaning
要
your
我们一
ability
定
to
要做这些
plan and
活动，
organize and remember what you were
可以增
trying
加我们
to
认
do
知
when you
功能，
went from
也
one
包
room
括
to
譬
the
如说
other
做一
room,
些
and
计划啊，
improve
还有就是空间
for
能力的
patients. So
认知，
reverse some of the memory loss.
甚至
Okay.
我们已经丧失的一些功能， 也
What
有
does
可能
this
重
mean
新
for
恢复，
physical
等于就是所
activity?
谓的
At
返老
least
还童
7,000
都可以
steps
的。
per day.
所以
If
呢，
you
每
don't have a
天那
fitness
什么样的活
tracker,
动有用
you
呢？
can get one. For example, a
每天至少
Fitbit,
走
you
7000
can
步。
get a good one for less than $100.
譬如说有一些
or
那
a
种
Garmin,
智
and then
能
you
型的
can
手
track,
表，或者是
are
那
you
种计步
walking
机，
enough? Are you
这些
getting
都
enough
是
steps?
甚至有些我们的智慧
Get
手机
up
就有
and
这些
move
功能，你
each
手
hour.
机
Take
放在包
5-minute
包
breaks to
带在
walk
身上
around,
跟着走，它就会
particularly
自动
if you
帮
work,
你
if you
记，
sit at a
就是
desk all day
但是每
long.
天
Get
只
up
走
every
70步
hour
700
for
步是没
5
有用，要
minutes
走
and
7000
move.
步，
It's very
每天
important.
7000步。那另外还有
And
就
in
是
terms of
站起来，
aerobic or cardiovascular
每天
exercise,
要站起
the
来，然后
recommendation is
做一些
150 minutes
运
to
动，就是每
300 minutes a
个
week
小时最
of
少要做5 分
moderate
钟起来做
intensity.
重。
Okay, and
然后
what
还有就
moderate
是一
intensity
周要
means
做
is that you
150分钟
notice
到
a
300 分
little
钟，
bit
就是2
of
个
maybe
半
like
小
your
时到
breathing. It's a little bit more difficult to
5个小
get
时，
as much
一
air,
周
but you
就
can
是
still
要
say
做一
some
些
sentences.
算是
You can
中
still
度，就是有
talk
一些强
and
度的
say
运
some
动，
sentences.
不是重
Or
度。
half of that
那如果
amount,
要做重度的
75
话，
minutes
只
to
要做一半，
150
就
minutes
是
a
只要
week
做75
of
分钟到
vigorous
150分钟
intensity,
一个礼拜，
aerobic
那
physical
就是做
activity,
那种
meaning
心跳
you're
会
exercising to the
会
extent, for
会
example, running or
会就是增
jogging or
加，譬如
cycling
说跑
or
步，
swimming to the extent that you
或者是
cannot
游
say
泳，
a full sentence. You can only say a
或者
couple
是
words,
跑步，就是
you
到
know,
这
where
个
you
状况就
really
是说，
feel your
哎，
heart
你会让你就是
pounding.
心脏跳 心
Okay,
跳快，但
so
是是在
these are
安
the
全
physical
症
activity
况之下，就是说会
recommendations.
有
And
点
finally,
说不
this
出
helps prevent
说不出
injury
话
when you
来，
age, and it
说不出
helps
话来，
prevent
但是
falls.
还可以
And
说
that's
几个字的
muscle
那
strengthening
种的这个运
activities
动强度。
on 2 or more days a week. Doesn't have to be
那
in a
另外还
gym,
有就
doesn't
是
have to
重
be
量训练，所谓的重
lifting
量训练
weights
就
like this is
所以
showing,
举重，
but it
所
should
以
be
就是
strengthening activities,
一
core
周
muscle
2
strengthening
天
activities,
2天
push-ups,
或者是更
other
多
kinds of
做，譬如
activities that
说
are focused on improving your muscular
伏地挺身
strength.
也是一种重量训练，
All right,
或者是
next
举重。
one is going to be
那还有一点
lowering
非
your
常重要，
stress
就是说要
levels.
减少我
So
们的
this
压
one's
力
a subject that's
程
very
度。
close to me because the subject of my research,
然后这跟
which
我
is
所做
in
的研究有关系，
some of these topics.
所以就是
So
跟脑部
how
的
is
健康
stress
有关系。
harmful? Well, high levels of stress leads to chronic, meaning continuous activation of the body's stress response, the release of hormones such as cortisol and epinephrine or adrenaline that course throughout your body from your brain
所以
throughout
说
your
就是有一
body.
些这个，我
And
们讲的是
they
非常强
increase
度
your
或者是
blood
高度
pressure,
的焦虑
they
呢，会
increase
对
your
造成
risk
一些
of
慢
heart
性
disease, they
方面
worsen your
的
immune
心
function,
理
and they
以及
even
生
have
理方面的压力的一些反
detrimental
应，
or poor effects directly on your brain cells,
所以会
on
影
your
响到一
brain
些
cells' ability to metabolize or use
神
energy,
经
on
代
your brain
谢
cells' plasticity, meaning its ability to
延展
reshape
功
when
能，
you
所以延
learn,
展功能就
and
是
even on the
学
brain
习
cell
新的
survival.
能力。
Okay,
就是说，
and
如
this
果压
can
力的话，
result
会
in
影响到我们这些脑
cognitive,
部已经
meaning
有的一些
memory
延展
types of
性，意思
symptoms
就是
and
说，
behavioral
它的脑部的
symptoms,
神经可以再
like lower
重新的
motivation,
建立
lower
新的连
energy
接， 也
levels,
就是可
things
以
like
让我们
that.
可以学习新的知识以及
So,
技能。可是如果压力太
what
大
you
的
can
话，
do to
就
help
会影响到
ameliorate
这个我们
stress,
的神经
mindfulness training,
代
I'll say a
谢这
little
些
more
功能，
about this, emphasizes focusing on the
然后同
present
时也
moment
会引
to
起，比如说
reduce
高血
stress
压、
and
心血管
anxiety.
方面的疾病，
And you
就
can
是压
learn
力，
this
就是好像是心理上面，但是它
like
会
with
产
an
生这些
exercise like
生
Tai
理上面的影
Chi,
响。那
where
接
you
下来就有
can
提
learn
到，
this with a
就是说其实
meditation
太极
teacher
就是
or
华
using a
人文
mobile
化、中
application
华
or
文
even
化传统
computer
的太
program.
极
If you
是
look
可
up
以
that word
是
mindfulness
非常好
online,
的，
you'll find many exercises,
或者是大家
including in
找这
Chinese.
个英文是
And
mindfulness， 但是中文就
some of the
是算是静
techniques
坐，
to help reduce stress include
或者是
meditation,
打
which
坐啊，
means
或者是
kind
禅
of
坐啊，这
sitting
些
mindfully for a long period
就
of
是让我们
time,
的就是心灵
or doing
安静下
breathing
来、沉静下来，减
exercises,
少我们感
or
受到的压
physical
力，
relaxation like stretching.
不但可
And
以对
just
于我
like
们
with
的心理健康
aerobic
有帮助，
exercise,
也
there
可以
is
影响到我们
a
的生理。
pilot study of mindfulness
所以一些
training in
认知
older
啊，
adults
还有
who
行
have
为方面
difficulty
的
with
这
their
个
memories, subjective
功
cognitive
能，
complaints. This shows increase in
还有一些
memory
症
and
状
brain
都有帮
volume
助。
from doing these
就是说，一
practices.
方面是
And
刚刚之前提
for
到的生
Tai
理
Chi
活
in
动，一方面
particular,
是这一些，尤其是太极，
meta-analysis. A meta-analysis
有很
is a
多
study of studies.
方
It
面
means
研
that
究，
there
那还有
have
一
been
些
several studies in the
有
scientific
关
literature,
研究的
and they
研究，
look
就
to
是把
see
很多
what's
一
a
些研究
common
集中在一
effect,
起所做的研究，
right? Is
然
it
后他看到这些研究的共
good?
同
Is
性，
it bad? Or we don't have enough evidence?
然后发觉太
And there's a
极
common
对于
effect
减少
showing
压
an
力是
increase
非
in
常有帮助的，
cognitive function
所以它有一
across
些
many
科
studies
学
for Tai
上面
Chi.
的
And Tai
数
Chi also
据
reduces
支
risk
持
of falls with aging
太
because of
极
its
可
focus
以
on balance.
减少
It's
焦
really
虑、
quite
减少
helpful.
压力，还有
Here are a
减
few more
少跌
words
倒，
on
因为它会增
mindfulness.
强我们的平
Mindfulness
衡能
comes
力，
from
会减少
Buddhism,
跌倒。因为老年人要
but
非常注意，就
in
是要小心不要跌
clinical
倒。
practice, we don't
所
need
以这个
to
是自我
have
帮
it
助
focus on
的这
Buddhism.
个
It can
mindfulness，
just
也就是
be
所谓的
an
静坐，
adaptation
心灵
that's
的
not
这个
religious.
呃
And it
调试。
involves remembering in the moment what you're experiencing,
然后这边说的是
what
说
your
做有心
experience
之人，
is,
就是它
and
可以
its
帮助我们
impact
的
on
记
you.
忆，
And
然
so
后就
you're
是不
paying
大是大非。这
attention
边
to
他
the
意思就是
moment,
说，不要就是老是
non-judgmentally.
批
You're
判
not
或是批评人
saying,
家，
oh, it's
说老
bad,
想
it's
说，
good,
哎，你
it's
这个做的不好，
horrible,
你这
it's
个做的不好，
this.
就
You're
是
really
少从
just
批
trying
评的
to
角度，
focus
就
on
是
what is. And you
等
try
于就
to
是要
understand
宽以
its
待人，
impact
宽
on
以
you,
待己，也要
not
宽以待
judging
人。
it as good or
然后
bad,
注
but
重
just,
到事物
okay,
的
this is what's
本身，
happening.
不要老是想说，哎，这是
And
对的，这是错
I'm
的，
going
就是
to
说，
open
不是说不
myself
辨
to
是
it and
非，
be
而是说
curious
不要
about it
去
and notice my breathing.
评论是
I'm
非，
going to notice my thoughts. I'm going to notice my
然后理解
emotions.
到我
And
们一些事
instead
情
of
能够
reacting
我
to
们可以
them,
造成的结
I'm
果。
going
然
to
后我觉得数息应该
maintain
是
an
数息的意
attitude
思，
of
就是说我们可
observing,
以数我们的呼吸
of
量，
noticing the
1、2，就
rise and
是
the
吸
fall, how they pass,
气，
how
吐
all of these
气，
different
就
mental
是慢慢的
phenomena
吸
pass. And
气，
mindfulness is
吐
built
气，
in,
就是我们传统的
built
太极、
into
气
ancient
功、
Chinese
瑜伽。那现
practices
在
of
这个
Tai
西方的
Chi,
科
of
学
Qigong,
都
of
显示到
ancient
它对
Indian
于
practices such
减
as
低
of
焦
yoga,
虑，
right?
然
And
后
so here
增
we
进脑部
see,
的功
you know,
能，
Tai Chi is
防
such a
止老
great
化，
thing because
甚
it's
至防
also
止失智
social,
症、阿兹
right?
海
People
默
are
症都有
coordinated
帮助的。
and doing the social
所
gentle
以
movement together. It
缓
can
和
really
减
be
缓的节奏
helpful.
就是
This slow, intentional
慢
mindful
慢的
movement.
来，慢慢的来，
So
慢慢来，不要
we've
太急，
covered a lot of ground
就是
in
走得
terms
慢，
of
然后
healthy
走得久。
behaviors.
然后
Everything
这
from
事实上是一
diet
个国际的趋
to
势，就是这些华人
sleep
传统
to
的优良文
exercise to
化，其实
socializing
都
to
是现在被 被国际上面西方国家世界各个不同的角落都开始在采用，因为发现到有很多在医学啊、神经、生活上面的很多好处。所以在这边讲就是说，那这些是很多我们都可以做的，就是光是改变我们的良好的生活习惯、良好的生活形态，就可以帮助
improve your cognitive function
我们
above where it is today if you follow some of these
产生阿兹海默症或者失智症的机会，甚至可以增进我们的认知功能，包括记忆以及一些高阶的认知执行功能、空间能力。所以说，这些都是我们只要注意健康、注意生活习惯、注意我们睡眠的那个规律，然后注意健康的生活方式都可以帮助的。
So right now there is many questions in our chat.
那我们现在会有开始来回答一些这些问题。那我们现在请主任帮我们念一些这些问题，然后我们来请讲者来回答。那第一个问题
，about 2 hours of sleep in the PM is good.
所以第一个问题就是说
，meaning at night.What do you think about 2 hours of sleep?
下午睡2个小时，
So I
好不
will
好？
answer that about sleep. You know how much sleep a person needs. So it's
那刚刚已
good
经
to
提到过，
have
就是说一个人大概
7
需
to
要
9 hours. That's an
7到
average
9
total
个小时的
amount
睡
of
眠。
sleep during the day.
所以总共，
Sometimes
所
people
以
do
所以一天
feel
当
that they
中
need to take a nap,
是7
usually
到
early afternoon after
9个小时。那
lunchtime
如果
to
你
get
想要就
refreshed.
是
It is okay
小
to
睡
take a
片
short
刻。
one, about
如
20
果
to
白
40
天要
minutes. What
要小睡的
happens
话
is that sometimes when
20到
people
40
take
分
a
钟，不要超
nap,
过
if it
40
is
分
too
钟，
long,
因为
then
总
they are
共
not able
我
to
们是
fall
需要7
asleep
到
at
9小
night
时。
time.
如果白天的时候
Then
睡太久的
they
话，那
stay
晚上就一定
awake
会睡不着，
until
会影响到
later,
晚上的睡
sometimes
眠。
past midnight, and that's not healthy.
所以说，
So
如
if
果
that's
说
a
白天睡
problem,
太久，
the
晚上睡不
recommendation
着，
is to
变成就是
avoid
说过
taking
了
a
半夜才
nap
睡的话，
or
其实是不好的。
taking a shorter one, just
所以
like
说
20
最好就
minutes,
是
20 to 40,
白
and wake
天
up,
要不就
and
是不
then
要
try
小
to go
睡，
to bed regularly
或
at
者
the
是如
same
果小
time
睡的话，
every night,
可以
and wake
短的，
up
不要
at a
太短，就
consistent
不要
hour
超
in the
过20到
morning.
40分
And
钟。
someone asked about coffee. I'll link it because it has to do with sleep too.
最好是
Someone
晚
asked if
上的时
drinking
候
coffee is good or bad for
一
your
起
brain.
就
So
是
there
长
are
时间的
studies too that
连
have
续的
shown
睡眠，
actually that
就是给脑部有
coffee is
时间能
good.
够
Coffee is
清这
not
些废
bad.
物，不然
Actually, there
白
have
天的时
been
候
some
睡几个
studies
小
that
时，晚
have
上睡
shown
几个
that
小时，
coffee,
脑部就
people
没有
who
办
drink
法
more
可
coffee
以就
have
是
less risk
很
of
好的清
Parkinson's.
理我们脑部
The
这些废
problem
物。
with coffee
所以说
is
要注
that
意
you don't want to
使用
take
那个咖啡
caffeine
因，因为
past,
咖
let's
啡
say
里面的
noontime.
咖啡
A
因
cup of
就
coffee
是
in the
中午以
morning
后，
or tea
所以
is
说
good.
白
But
天
when
或
you
者
drink
是
it
早上
later
是
on, like
好
past
的，但是如果是
2,
中午
3
以后的话，
p.m.,
因为它需要
we
6个小时才
discussed
代谢到一
how
半，
it
所以全
lingers
部
in
代谢
your
完就是
body,
不知道到
and then
可
it
能
keeps you
要
awake
当然是远超过
at
6个小时咯。
nighttime. So
所以说
that's the
下午
reason. It
才
is healthy,
下
but
午
if you
才喝
drink
咖
it
啡
in
的
the
话，可能就会影
morning
响到晚上的
and
睡
you
眠。
limit your
所以
amount
最
of
好是
caffeine
早上的时
intake.
候喝咖啡或者是喝茶，而
Very
不
good,
要
yes.
过了
8 to
中
9
午以
hours,
后。
that's kind of luxurious.
所以给予
Depends
我
on
们
who
这
can
个过
cut
午不食
But I
另外
think
一个
it's
意
good
义，就是可
important
能
to
过午
preserve
要
our
少
health.
喝
So
咖
there
啡，
is
越
another
早喝越
question from
好。
my father is 93 years old.
那下一个问题就是说，我的
And
父
he
亲现在已经
sleeps about
93 岁
12
了，
hours. Is
然后
this
大概
normal?
每天会睡12个小
Would
时，
that
这个是正常的现
he
象吗？
also want to sleep at any other time, any chance that he has? So is that considered normal?
那还有就是
Yeah,
他
so
随时
that's
随地都会
something
想要
actually that
睡。
happens as we get older. That sometimes people do want to sleep more, but it does become a problem.
有的时
Sleep is how
候
we
这是正
say
常的老化的现象，
usually
但是有的
it's
时
good
候
if you sleep you
它会
good
是一个
amount
问
of
题。
hours at night time. And
所以如果
during the
是
day, it's natural to try to fall asleep
晚
if you
上
feel
如
bored,
果
if
如
you
果
are
是
not
晚上睡的话
stimulated,
是
if there is not much going
是
on in
好
the
的，
environment.
可是如果是
So
白
the
天一直想睡的
recommendation
话，就要
here
注
is
意了。
try to structure the day and have a
所以最好
routine.
他能够就
Let's
是每
say
天
wake
还
up
是
time
要
is 8:30 or
还是要
9,
定期，就是比如说
breakfast,
早上8点半的时候，
take a
比如说
bath
早上
or
8
put
点
on
半
new
的时候
clothes and get going with
8
the
点半起
day, and
来，
then
然后
structure
从事一些
activities,
白
for
天的一些
example,
活动，
playing games in the afternoon or reading
然
or
后
having
下午
a
的时候可以
conversation.
做一些
Try
他
to
喜欢做的
engage
活动
because
啊，
otherwise
或者是玩
it
一些
would be
活动，就是
natural
做一
that the
些，
person feels bored sitting on a chair watching TV, they
就
would
是
fall
让他能够
asleep.
做一些他
So
感兴趣的
here
活
the
动，又要
recommendation,
找
the
一些事
message
情做，
is try to
要有
keep
一些
them
兴
busy,
趣，
doing something during the day. And I know it
就是让
requires
他白天有一些
effort
事
and
情能够做。
energy
因为如果
because
说没有什
you
么
are
什么事情都
busy
没做，
and
他
you
就
just
坐在那边
want
休
to,
息啊，
do your things,
或者
but
是什么
that's
事都
when
不
we need
做，那可能
help
没事
from
的话
other family
就会想要睡
members
觉。
or the
可是如果
senior
他有一些
center
事
or
情做
get
的
them
话，
sign up into
所以大家可以去
activities so
参
they
加一
don't
些，
get
比如
bored.
说老年活动中心啊，它会有一些
So
课
it's
程啊、
possible
活
because
动
when
啊。
you get older and you have a fewer people
所以
to
白天
be
最好还是
engaged
做一
with
些活
you,
动。
they, all other younger people are busy, and
那
so they
白
are
天
alone.
就
They
是
are
就是所以说
probably
老年人的
have
社交
no
活动是
activity
是要注意，
engage
因为有一
with,
些
and so that
老
make
年
them
人可
even
能就
feel
是他可能
more
就是
likely to fall
有一些
asleep.
朋友可能没空啊，
Yes.
或者是已经不在啦， 或者是
This
失去联络
question
啦，
said,
所以他就少一些社
yeah,
交活动。
that's
所以
my
说
question. Say,
社交活
would
动或是
learning
自
a
己能
new
够做的活动是
language
非常重要
help
的。
also improve our memory?
那下一个问题就是说，学习一个新的语言是不是可以帮助记忆力的增
Yes,
进？
it definitely
那回答就是
will help you
说
to improve your
是的，
memory.
而且是非常确定的是，
Learning a new
学习一个
language
新的语言可以
involves activating multiple
可以
brain
很有
systems,
用的
and
减
you
少
learn
脑部的
so
老化，
much
甚至
different.
是增进
You
脑部
challenge your
的
brain in so
能
many
力，
different
因
ways
为它需要
when you're
很多很
learning
多
a
的能力，
new
也许大家可
language,
能会觉得很
from
困难，可是就是因为
words
困
to
难，所以在帮助我们的
articulation
脑
to
部
even
在做很多不
perception,
同的活动，包括
perception
比
of
如说
hearing.
比如说
And
你要
one
听，
thing that I'd like
你
to
要
mention
说，你要建立
on
新的连
hearing
结。
is that it's also important if you're aging and you notice hearing loss
所以说，
to
那有
get
关听力方面也要
tested
注意，
and to
就是
get
如果说
hearing
年纪
aids.
年
Hearing
纪越来
aids
越
are
大，如果
one
有
of the
时候会
things
开始
that
听
can
不清
also
楚的
help
话，那你可能要注意到
reduce
是
your
不要
risk of
使
memory
用一些
problems
助
because
听
it
器，
keeps
因为你
the
就
brain active.
因为
And
如
you'll
果你就
need
是
it
像
for
有些老
learning
年
the
人，他
new
不想带
language.
助听器，
So
可是他
learn
一
the
直不
new
听，一直不
language
听，
with
就
your
是一直不
hearing
一直
aids.
听不到的话，听得越来越少的话，
Great.
他就少
That's
了一个
great.
自
Yeah.
己。
So
那
so
少了自
important
己的
without
话，
able to
就
listen,
会
you won't be
就
able to
会
learn.
等于就是说促进脑部的老化。
There's one
所以
person
说，
asked
如果
about
有助听器的帮助，
what
可以
about
持续有听
singing?
觉的刺激的话，
Singing has
那
any
就可以
brain
帮
and
助
memory health
避免脑部的老
connection?
化。那下一个问题就是说，
So
那
singing
唱
is
歌有没有
very
帮助？
important. And it's
然
important
后
for
唱歌其实
many
是非
reasons.
常非常重
One
要的，
is
就跟
that
学习语言
song
也一
and
样，
music
它有
is an
很大很大的帮助。
antidepressant, you could say. It's
因为音
not for
乐本
everybody,
身
but for
是
many
抗
people,
忧
it
郁
helps
的
them.
良
It
药，
helps them to make their day better
可以
and
帮助我
less
们
stressful. So
减
I'm
少我们
not
的焦虑，
aware of
减少
any
我们的焦虑。
particular scientific studies on singing and
所以
memory
唱歌
health.
是非常好的。
But nevertheless, it makes good sense. And it makes good sense because when you're singing,
所以唱歌
often
是
you're with other people
对大家来
or
就
you're
非常好的，
connecting
尤
with
其比如说
others
唱歌
in
的时候，
some
有可
way.
能是
And
比如
even if
说
not,
大家
you're
参加是
using
算是一
a
个社交
different
活动，
part
比如
of
说唱
your
卡拉 OK 啊，
brain
现在
from
有很
just
多那种全民
normal
K 歌啊，
words. You're
类似这
using the
种
temporal
网络上
lobes
面大家一起唱
that
歌，
are on
所
the
以算是一
sides
种
of the
活动。
brain that help you to be
然
able
后唱歌
to
的时候也
sing.
要注意
So
一些，比如
I
说，
recommend for mental health and also
所以这对于心理健康、
for overall brain health
社交
to
活
sing
动、
as much
整
as
体
you
的脑
can,
部健康
incorporate
都
music
非
into
常有
your
帮助，
life.
所以建议大家
If
多
you
多唱歌。
can, participate with others with
那如
music.
果能够 如果能够
And
跟大家一
yeah,
起参加，
I
就是说
think it's
还有一些
so
跟其他人的
beneficial.
这些互动的
And
话，
I
那就
would
更棒。
add, I also want to add that actually
那同
in
时也跟
people
大
that
家
are already experiencing
分享一
cognitive
下，
changes like memory
如
loss,
果大家已
cognitive
经有感觉
decline,
到一些脑部功能的
listening to
变化，
music and those good
譬如说
memories
减
of things when they
少，
were younger,
譬如说
it
记忆变得
helps
比较不好，
boosting up
听音
their
乐也会有所
mood,
帮助。
making them feel more comfortable at home, at peace.
就
So
是说听音
sometimes
乐其
at
实是可以
times when
有
they
帮
are
助的，
agitated
所以
or
即使
angry
是
or
有些人就
something
是
feels
年
like
纪
a
大了，
discomfort, it's
已
good to
经
remember
有一
and
些
try to
记忆
find
力
music
减
that
少的
they
问题的话，听音乐
enjoy.
也是有非常
It
帮
could
助
be
的。所以
way
大家
back,
不但可
things
以
that
唱
bring
歌，
them good
也可以听
memories.
音
And
乐，听一些
also,
自己喜
not
欢的老
only for
歌，
the
听一
person that
些自
has
己的音乐。
difficulties with memory, but also for the person that is caring for them. There are studies of chorus, people that sing in choral, that it helps
所
with
以有
their
研究有
mood
人
and
显
their
示，
good
就是说，比如
attitude and
说
relieve
参
some
加合唱
stress.
团啊，
So
或者
I
是听
think
音乐啊，
overall
都对于
it's a
脑部的
great
健
idea,
康、认知的活
music
动都
in
有帮
any
助，
form.
就是
It could
音
be
乐。
singing or
所
it could
以以
also
任何形式
learning
的
an
音乐，
instrument. That's also good for the brain brain to
不管是唱
create
歌，或者是
connections
听
and
音乐、
engage
听
all
歌，
those
甚至是学一个新
activities
的
and
音乐，
loves
学一
that
个
would
新
help you
的
stay healthier
学一
and
首新
engaged
歌，
and
或者是
active.
学一个新的乐器， 就是学的新的知识跟技能都非常非常有帮助。我也非常同意，就是说，当一个人就是在沉浸在音乐当中的时候呢，然后不但可以让自己快乐，也可以把快乐带给大家，跟大家分享。所以音乐是非常棒的，鼓励大家多多从事音乐相关方面的活动。
I don't know if there are any other questions. I think one question I have posed is that earlier time that you have mentioned about how
接下来有一个问题就是之前您有提到，就是说饮食对于脑部健康的方式。那想请问一下，您是否会推荐
very healthy, and so would you recommend being like vegetarian or be much more like a plant-based?
您是否会考虑建议我们
yes, well,
素食？
there's no question that overall a vegetarian or plant-based diet
非常明显的就是
makes
说
it easier to
素食
be
的话
healthy.
的
Now
确
that being
是对于
said,
健康有帮助。
consumption of fish and dairy has been associated
虽
in
然
some
素
studies
食
with
素食有
you know
所
with
帮助，
reducing
但是像一些
the
鱼类
incidence. So fish and dairy are not
或者是一些
considered bad
乳制
at
品
this time.
也有一些资
But
料显
having a
示
plant-based
有
diet,
帮助。
even if it's not
但是如果
100%
主要是
vegetarian,
素
but a
食，就算
plant-based
不是
diet
100%的素
is
食，就
very
是说
good.
是
And I
以素
see
食为主
in terms of
的
the
饮食习
time,
惯是有
the
帮助
time
的。
to have dinner to be considered healthy, it really does depend on what your digestion is like. So for some people, if they eat too late, they have acid reflux, particularly in their sleep, that disturbs their sleep, or they have indigestion in their sleep and then they wake up. And so if that's the case, it's better to eat earlier, to eat, you know,
那有一点很重要，就是说
5
吃东西
or
的时
6
间，所以
o'clock
最
if
好就是
normally they
说
would eat at 7
早
or
点
8 o'clock.
早一点
And
吃，比如说
certainly
5点
also
到
to
6点的吃，
reduce
而不要
sweets.
太晚，比如说7点
So
到
to
8点。
reduce
另外还
ice
有就
cream at
是
night or other desserts
就
at
是
night.
要吃些什么跟不要
That
吃
would
些
be
什么也很
very
重
good.
要。就比如说
May
不
I
要
do
吃
see
刚
some
刚讲到的
questions in
是
the Q&A. I don't know if you
Oh,
航
yeah,
谈
I
食
did not
品，
really
所
see
以
that. Yes, actually,
所
there
以
are
不要
so
吃这
many
种
questions. Very
航
good.
航谈食
So the
品
one is that
也很
is
重要。
drinking coffee good to the brain?
接下来问题就是说喝咖
Yeah,
啡
so okay, we
对
got that
脑
one.
部有没有什么好？
Dr. Ramirez had said that yes, there's actually evidence that drinking coffee can be good for the brain, but only if you drink it before about noon and no later
然后
than
回答就
2
是
p.m.
说
because
是
it
可能有好处，
takes about 6
但是最好
hours
是
on
在
average
下
for
午
even
2点之
the
前喝是最
caffeine
好
to go
原
down
因
by
就是因为
50% in your system.
咖啡因要减少，如果减少一半，
Okay.
在身体里面一半的含量的话，也需要6个小时。
I
所以
think
不
that
要太
one
晚
that
喝，
we
以免
responded to is
以免影响健康。
Okay. The next one is my dad can walk 100 steps per day and 100 hand press. And what other exercise, physical activities, would you recommend for a 93 years old?
说我
Yeah,
的
very
我的
good
父亲已经
question.
90
Very, very
93
good
岁了，
question. So,
然后可以走
first of
100
all,
步，还可以
100
做
steps per day
100
would be
下。
about
他这边用的是
walking
hand
from
press，所以我不
from
大确定
one's
是伏
bed
地挺身还
to
是
the
指
bathroom and back
压手。
a couple times. It's very, very small amount of that. So it would be helpful, perhaps even to see a physical therapist
所以
to
但
be
是
able to
100
do
步有
more
点
steps than
太
that.
少了，所以最好能够去
And to
看医生，
because
还有就是
walking,
所谓
you know,
的
if
那个
if the person
职
doesn't
能
have
治
a
疗师，
specific
然后能够
injury or
帮助
condition that
帮助
requires
他
them to
能
be
够
in a
在
wheelchair,
安全以及
then
健康的
walking
状
is
况
one
之
of the
下，
most beneficial forms of
能够就
exercise.
是能够走久一
In
点，
addition to
就是走
hand
多一些步，
presses,
因为刚刚之前有
other
提到，
core
每天最好
muscle
就要做7000 步，
exercises,
那老年人没有办法走那么
exercises
多的
that
话，
activate
但是
the
100步
long
的话，
abdominal
可能
muscles
是不够
and
的，
that
因为走路的
improved
时候可以，
balance can be
就是说可以
beneficial. And then
使用到
also
全身的肌肉，包括
qigong
腹部的肌肉，
exercises
也就是核心肌群。
are very gentle, very
那另外还有
appropriate
就
for
是
a 93-year-old
气功，
and can help him to focus
也可以有
also
所
on
帮助，就是非
mindfulness.
常非
So
常
those
和
are
缓
some I would
的活
recommend,
动，
but
就是
consider
在
meeting
健
with a
康
physical
以及
therapist and getting
健康以及安全的考量之下，
in-depth
可
advice
以
and specific
最好是
exercises.
跟治疗师 然后为他量身设计
would you recommend
适合他的活
dairy
动。
food products such as cheese and yogurt, less milk or organic dairy food
那这个问题是
is
说，
preferred?
您是否会推荐 乳制品，像是
the question about
优格
which
或者是
form
牛
of
奶，或者
dairy
是
is best, I think
或者
it's
是
an
有机
open
食
one
品，
from the
或者
scientific
是有机的
perspective.
乳制品。
The most important message here is do not
最重要
feel
的讯
bad
息就是说，
about your dairy consumption.
就如果
You
您
know,
吃
if
乳
you
制品
like
的
to
话，可
drink
能不需
milk,
要觉得不
don't
好。
feel bad about
如果
that.
您
And
想要
it's
喝
even
牛
okay
奶，
to
那您
drink
是可以
whole
喝
milk.
牛奶。
If you like to eat cheese or
那
yogurt,
甚至是
that's beneficial,
全乳
and it's
牛
beneficial
奶
to
也是
have
可以。
a varied diet. A varied
然
diet
后重
meaning
点就是说，
different types of
要有
dairy, because
各样
each one
不
has
同
its
的
own
乳
set
制
of
品，而不
chemicals
要
that
只吃其
within
中
these
一种。
studies I was telling
因
you
为
about in the
因为每
Chinese
一种
populations,
因为每一
really
种
it
乳制
was
品
any
都有它
form
特殊的成
of
分，
whole
所以
fat
说
dairy
同
seems to be
同
helpful.
同一
In
样
terms of
的成
organic
分
dairy
的
food,
话，最好是
I
有不
think
同
that
样
that
的成
is
分。因为
somewhat
有一些研
dependent
究其
on
实显示，就是
someone's
说
personal,
某些脂肪
philosophical,
其实
and
是对
ethical
于
beliefs. From the
健康是
nutritional
有帮助的。
standpoint,
所以
there are not a
说，
lot of differences
所以说大家不
just
必
in
过于
terms
担
of
心
pure
使用乳制品。
nutrition between organic and non-organic. Or from the brain health standpoint, there are not a lot of
然后
differences,
然后
but
从健
organic
康的
food
角
can
度
be
上
much
面，
more costly. So I think it
以健
depends a
康
lot on one's
营养方
budget,
面
also on
的
one's ethics.
考
I
量
mean,
的话，
if you
就
can
是有
obtain
机跟非有
grass-fed
机并
milk
没
and
有
grass-fed
很大的在营
cheese
养方
from
面的差
cows, you know,
别，
that's the
但是它
nicest
的
for the cows.
但是它的费用
But
是差很多的，
from
所
the
以大家
brain
可能
health
要
standpoint,
自己
don't worry too much about it.
大家可以考量。但是如果就是说对于脑部健康的影响的
Also, in
话，
terms of
不需
you
要
know,
担
there are
心
a
太
lot
多，
of
就是一定
Asian
要使用
population or Chinese that
有
they
机
have
食
a
品。
dairy intolerance. What
Yes.
would be any substitute for it?
然后接
Sure.
下来
So
这个
it's
问题就是
so
说，有一些
we're
亚
not
裔是
we're not saying
不
you
合
have to
适
eat dairy. Okay, the most
牛
important
奶，那
thing
应该要
is
怎么
the
办？
vegetables,
那回答就是说，
beans,
并不是说一定要
and
喝牛奶，
the
其实最重要的
you know
是蔬菜，
fruits,
还有豆类，
nuts,
还有水果，还有坚果，
and whole grains,
还有
whole
就是
grains.
全麦的
And
谷类。
so dairy, it's not required.
所
You know,
以乳
fish
制
is
品
also very good. And the
并
important
不
thing
是
is to
说需要，
avoid red
刚刚
meat
说的只是
and
说
to
有一
avoid
些证据显
artificially
示它并没有
sweetened
不好，甚至
foods
有好处，
and to
但是并
avoid
不是说它是
trans
需要。
fats like
还有
in
就是
fried
鱼
foods.
类
So if you can avoid the
是好
bad
的，那
things
反
and you
式
can
脂
have
肪
a
是应该要避
varied
免，
diet
譬如
for
说
the things your body
油炸的
is
食物。
naturally
所以
able
重
to
要就是说，
digest,
不好吃、
then
非
you're
常
going
明
to
显
be
的
in
食
the
物，
best
像红肉
position
啊、
and
反
you're
式脂
really
肪、油
going
炸类这
to
种是
set yourself
确
up
定不好的要
for
少
good
吃，
health.
然后好的也是非常
That's
确
wonderful.
定。
I
譬如
mean,
说
those
刚刚讲的
the
比较好的
recommendation
食
that
物
you have offered to
的
us
话，
is
大
like
家都是要尽量多
accessible.
吃，然后就是要有各
It
式
is
各样不
our
同的种类，
everyday experience, so
这
it's
样
not
是
like
比较好的。
you have to really spend too much time or money to
所以这些都是
acquire
有关于
something. This is fantastic.
每一天我们
Thank
都
you
可
so
以
much.
做的
I
一
don't
些
know if
事
there
情，
are any other
来
questions.
来
Is
可以
the
促
last
进
chance?
促进我们的帮助，对于我们脑部健康的帮助。
I don't see anyone else. Anyone else have any more questions?
那还有没有什
Then
么问题？
maybe I can say, because I saw that there were some people who joined us over the course of time. Maybe
那有
I
一些
can
人是
tell them about the study again.
Oh, sure, definitely. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
那有些人是
Wonderful,
刚刚在
wonderful.
加入的时候，我
So,
想再跟大家
Can you show
分
the
享一下，就是
PPT?
我们
I mean,
现在做的
Yes,
一个研究。
let me in fact, I can put this into the chat. So what we are doing right now is we want to better for our research. It's very important that we get your opinions. Okay, so you know who here on this call doesn't like sharing your opinion?
所以我们
You
这边
know,
有一
if
个
there's someone
就
who
是
doesn't
访
like
谈，
sharing your
希望能够
opinion,
拿到大
you
家
know,
的意
raise your
见。
hand and tell me.
就是我们有一
Most
个
people
访谈，
like
这个研究
sharing
就
their
是说
opinion,
要收
right?
集大家的意
And
见。
we will pay people to
那我们
to
会
share
就
their
是说
opinion
付您一些费用
because，it's so important for us. It's
然后
so important for us
让
to
是
get
帮
the
助我们大家来
perspective of a diverse community. So I have put into the chat, although I think it
收
only
集
went. Let me put it in for everyone.
收
I only
集
sent it
收
to
集
the
大家的意见，希望
panelists.
能大家能够参与。那这
So
边有一
this
个
is
这个
And I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to bring this flyer up because what we want to do, I think we said at the beginning, we want to really help people who are not only our patients, right? Our patients are suffering, of course, but we also want to help their family members and their relatives who help them. Okay, we want to support them with new technologies and new technology resources. And so if you know anybody who's caring for a family member who has memory problems, please let them know that they're eligible to participate in our research study that includes focus groups. And so a group of people together on Zoom, just like this on Zoom, where we talk with each other about your preferences for mobile technology. And for each focus group you participate in, we're able to compensate you $30 for your time. And so if you participate in 6 of those with us, then the compensation can be up to $180. So the telephone number and the email for the person is here. And we're very eager to have more participation from people in the Asian community so that whatever we develop, right, we have grants. We have grants now from the Alzheimer's Association. We also have grants from the National Institutes of Health. And we want to make sure that what we're doing reaches and serves people in the Asian community. We can't determine that unless we have your input. So please participate with us. We'd be really honored to have your participation.
Yes, actually, there's one question about we sent out, Eva sent out a survey. That survey is only for the program that we present today. For your input to say, what do you think about the presentation today? What did you learn? Do you have any recommendation? Which, if you have any interest to learn more, I particularly requested to say that this is going to be a very general introduction. I'm sure there will be more learning to come, but of course we wanted to make sure that everyone can take it and can feel comfortable to relate to it. If you have any interest to learn more, please let us know. So we will be able to request more presentation from both incredible doctors. How wonderful we have in terms of the great opportunity for our two doctors that they live more than and they are just so busy and yet they took their precious time to prepare this presentation and to help us to educate us about how we can help ourselves to be healthier, preserving our memory. So we are very grateful for your participation, and of course we are very grateful for Dr. Jen and Dr. Let me pronounce this one more time. Can you help me to do it?
曾医师还有这个
Ramirez
还有莱米达斯医生
So you have 2 last names.
Yeah, in Latin America it's 2 last names. So Ramirez Gomez.
所以这个他的姓有2个，就是 Rami 达斯狗米兹这位女医师，然后这2位医师他们是夫妇，那他们也非常荣幸来参加今天的讲座，希望能够对大家带来帮助。
This is incredible research opportunity for this focus.
然后还有就是刚刚这2位所提到这个就是那个访谈不是访谈，就是说调取大家的意见，等于就是讨论团体，希望大家能够踊跃参加，这是一个非常难的机会，让我们就是华裔群体能够提供我们对于这个相关疾病有关的看法。然后同时这个活动是线上，所以就是说大家不用担心那个还要舟车劳顿啊，跟人家接触的问题，也是就是像今天的讲座一样，就是用 Zoom 的 meeting， 然后线上参加，所以请大家好好的把握这个机会。
That this has become a modern disease.
I'm sorry, that dementia has become a modern disease?
Yes, not necessarily 120 years ago.
所以说失智症好像就是说现代人好像越来越多好像变成现代病，是不是这样子呢？
And so We have
然后事实
been a
上，
successful
医生的回答
human
就是
race
说，
in improving
因为
our
失智症其实
lifespan
最大的
with
因素是老
clean
化，
water,
可
with
是因为由于科技的进步，
antibiotics, with
那现代
treatments
人
for other
的
health
可以越活越
conditions,
久，就
and so we're
以
living
前是
longer.
人生70
And
古来
because
稀，
we're living
但是现在的
longer,
话80、90甚至
we're
超过100岁，
getting
大家都有
more
看到。
dementia.
那所以说活得
So
越久，
I think
那
that's the
相
most
对的就比较有
important
机会让这
factor.
个疾病产生。
And
所以
the
说
good news, though, is
这一
that
点可
we
能是有
can
关系的。
lower, substantially lower
但 是
our risk of getting
好消
dementia
息的话，就是说 有
with lifestyle,
不少
with
事情
lifestyle
我们可以
changes.
做的，来减少我们得到这个疾病的发
So
生。
that's
所以
the
就
good
是刚
news.
刚提到
Dr.
人家说的
Ramirez, do you have anything
生
you
活
want to
形
add to
态
that?
的转
Yeah,
变
so
的
to
改变，
conclude, I also want to remember
就是饮食
everybody,
跟营养。简单来
remind
说，
everybody that these lifestyle
所以再
changes,
次提
we
醒大
don't
家有关
wait
生
to
活
be
形式
too
的改
old.
变。
We
请
start
大家不要
now.
等，就是
Because
说
now,
从
at
今
this
天开
moment,
始，
any
不管我们
moment,
是
you
几
know,
岁，
however
所以
old
不
you
要等
are,
到我们50岁、
the
60岁、
earlier
70岁、
you do
80
it,
岁
the
才
better.
做。
So I
即使您
encourage
现在只有
everybody
20
to be
岁、30岁、
healthy,
10几
take good
岁，
care of their
从今天就开始做
mind,
起，
their
越早
body,
做
their
越好。
spirit, their
但是最好
heart,
的就是
and
从
be
您开始的
active
那一
in
天，
any possible way.
就是从今天就开始
And thank you
来
for
注意做
having
这些
us
事情。
here.
然后
Thank
非
you
常
so
谢
much. That's
谢，
so true. I mean,
让我们
lifestyle
今
is
天有这
really
个
the
机
number one
会来跟
basic
大家分享这些
maintenance that start
宝
from
贵
your
的讯
when
息。
your body is new, right?
是的，非
You
常
don't
重
want
要
to
的
wait
就是
until
说，
your
今
old,
天
your
跟大
car is
家
down. You
分
need
享，
to
两位医
have
师
a
跟
lot
我
of
们分享
repair
讯息是
to
非常宝贵，也是
protect
非常
its
重要
come
的。
too late. So again, thank you so much. We did a
非常
wonderful
感谢
timing,
两
and
位讲者，
I'm
两
also
位
want
医
to take
生
this
讲解，
opportunity to thank also Dr. Yongqi
对我
Song
们
who helped
的
us to do the translation.
今天的
He
演
also
讲，
has some
也
study in this particular area as
也
well,
也
so
也
that's
希
why
望
he
今
is
天的
feel
翻译
comfortable to
能够对大家
to
有
help
帮
to
助，能够
translate.
了解这位两
Oh,
位
thank
医
you
生
so
杰出的
much.
研
Nice
究。
to meet you.
Likewise, it's a pleasure to work with you. Thank you very much.
We are very shy in pronouncing your name, so we almost nervous. So thank you again, Dr. Jen and Dr. Gamaz.
Thank
好，
you
再
so
次感
much,
谢两
May.
位医
Thank you for
师，
having
再
us,
次
and
感谢
thank you
两位医师。
for all the work of
那我
the
们也很
Chinese
荣幸来
Cultural
到这边，然
Connection
后谢谢
here
大
in
家，
Malden. It
非
really is
常
important.
高
Yes,
兴
and
能够
thank
来
you so
参
much for
加这个
entrusting
活
your
动，来
wonderful
支
two
持华
children
夏
with
协
us.
会。
I cannot believe it. What kind of language do you speak at home?
We
然
speak
后
Spanish at home and also English at
我
home.
们也很
Wow,
高
and
兴，就
now
是
your
您
children
的
also speak
两
Chinese.
个
So
您的
they
两
they
位
are
宝
in
贝
good
小
hands.
孩
Very
能够
wonderful.
参加我们华夏协会中文课
It's a
程，
constant effort. You know, we
所
have
以
to
这小
tell
孩在
them,
家
okay,
里
you're going
说
to
的
speak
是英
Spanish
文
at dinner or you get a timeout.
跟
You know, so
跟西
even
班牙
we
文，
have to take
所
the
以我们是
effort,
训练我们
right,
的小孩
to
子成
help
为
teach
双语，
our
因为我们知道
children.
就是双语的小
Definitely,
孩是
and
非
that's
常
the
有帮助
routine
的。
that you help to set up. So they
然后
know
现在
that
他们的
what
小孩
kind
也
of
可以说中
a
文，
situation
所
where
以
they
变
have
成
an
三语。
opportunity to practice what language, and so
所以
ultimately,
说
you know,
利
they're going to
用
be
时
winners
间来
Right.
练
because
习
now you
多语
invest the time and
是非常
effort
重要。
to
这两
help
位医
them,
生需要就
and
是
and
提醒
then
他们的
they're
小孩
going to
子
be a part
要
of their
要讲
lifestyle, and
西班牙
you
文，
know,
譬
when
如
they grow
说，
up, they can
因
use it just like
为
that.
主要的环境是
Right.
讲英文，
Yeah.
所以要讲
Thank you
Very
so
good.
much.
他们
You
的
guys are wonderful role model for all
第
of
二
us.
双语是
Not
非
only
常
for
重
Thank
要
the
的。
you.
那这
parents,
两
of
位医
course, and the
生
great doctors. So
算
thank
是
you
我们
again,
自
and we
己
hope to
非
see you
常
soon.
好
Hope to see
的
you
这
soon.
个可以
Okay.
学习
Take
的，
care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
我们能够非常好学习的对象，所以说非常感谢这两位医师今天对我们
谢谢
的分
Yongqi
享。哦，不客气，
我
不客气。
们建议大家thank you so much. Everyone should take the opportunity to do the feedback for us. So
然后谢谢
give
大
us
家，
feedback
请
so
大
we
家
will
帮
help,
我们填
if any
那个
suggestions in
回
terms
馈
of
的
other
意见，就
programs
是在
that we
这
can
边
help
贴
to
的，
implement
就是
and
在这
help
边
our
贴的这
community.
个连结是
Thank
可以帮助我们华夏协会做一些以后后续相关类似的活动，也同时了解大家对于今天
So
活动的
Yongqi, if you're all set, you can stop recording from your side.
感
Thank
觉。
you.
所以 你那个我们刚刚有活动有录影，我们现在就停止录影。